Alrighty. So welcome to another week of Conversations,
Yes,
man. So
sir.
what's going on? We got our boy Major back. Boy, we was hurting, bro. We was hurting. We
What's
was hurting.
cracking, man? How's everything?
Everything's
We in the
good, man.
building. We
You
in the
know, when
building.
you ever try to run 100-yard dash with one leg?
I have
That's how I
never.
felt, man. That's how I felt when you was missing from the program. Fool. It felt
Hey,
like
man, I'm glad to be
running
back.
100-yard dash with one leg. So
Oh man,
and that's one of the
I'm
reasons
glad.
why today's show is so important because we want to let you guys know, titled it basically on the powers of chemistry and how chemistry is needed in all aspects of our lifestyle. Meaning
Yeah,
that the main ingredient, whether it's work related, relationship, friendship, dealing with family or whatever the case may be, it has to be a strong chemistry in order for everything to flow in a more healthy and precise way. Um, it is the same reason why you saw Allen Iverson when they told him about practice, and he had this big rant about practice. He was like, "Practice,
yeah,
practice? You serious? We're talking about practice. We're not talking about a real game." But
yeah.
in reality to it, he understood how he played the game, and he felt like he didn't need practice. But
Mm,
whenever you're in a group sport, it's always needed for everybody to basically practice together because you're
no
more in
doubt.
sync together when you are cohesive and you guys have that chemistry, and that chemistry that builds up within the realms of the players and everybody in it. That chemistry is now portrayed into the game, and then you see how the outcome comes into your favor when you have that powerful chemistry with you. um,
No doubt.
and there's so many aspects of it. When you look at even tonight's game, the chemistry of how the 49ers basically started from start to finish. The chemistry was always aligned there, even on the defensive side, because the chemistry allowed them to be the top five defense throughout the league. And when you have that
Right.
chemistry, when you have all your pieces, everybody's in sync. When you don't have the chemistry, you end up being like the Tampa Bay who played Dallas, who had key injuries like Carl Thompson. I think his name is Carl Thompson. Um, he was Carlton something. I forgot his last name, but
Mm,
he had an injury, so he was one of the key important players on the defensive end, and they didn't have him. He wasn't
right.
available, and when he wasn't available, second string, third strings come in. They don't have the adhesive chemistry like everybody else because they don't play on the first string of teams. They're not. They don't understand the next player's abilities and deficiencies, so they can
Right.
play on it or help out when needed. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important that you have chemistry. And whatever you do in life, if the chemistry amongst whoever you're with doesn't reflect as powerful as it's supposed to be, it really tip tops the whole platform or whatever you guys are doing as a whole, whether it's a team, whether you're having a
Yeah.
platform like this, even when inside the base realms of your relationship, you can throw
Yeah.
off your relationship when you don't have chemistry. When you have chemistry in your relationship, that's where you become a power couple because they feed off of each other. The yin, the yang,
Mhm.
it comes together cohesively. And that's why you have
Right.
a lot of healthy relationship because the chemistry is so tight that the chemistry is what a lot of women crave. And why I say that is in a relationship, women always say they like a guy to know what's going on with them without them even saying a word. That's chemistry. When you understand your mate, same thing vice versa with a woman. She knows when her man is not feeling good, something is wrong. She comes to him, she feels that chemistry, that cohesiveness that they have. I understand you without you even saying a word. So today's
Real talk.
program, we definitely want to basically break down the chemistry. And what better way to lead into that is a chemistry, a union that was formed with one of our panelists, a great major. He had went and, we talked about it last week about his beautiful union that I was so glad and honored to witness firsthand. And it's so important for guys to go out there and go to these weddings and see it face for face value, because it's so powerful. Because at the end of the day, if you're a man of honor, if you're a man of dignity, if you're a man that's willing to grow in society, you do want to get to that next level of marriage and a union. Despite what everybody else say, because some people have differences based on their personal issues. So they might be bitter towards the situation, and that's going to rub you the wrong way. So you, as a person, have to know what your end goal is. If your end goal is to find somebody that is just as beautiful, is enhance you in every sort of the way, and you want to take it to that next level and mend together a union, a beautiful union at that, then that's the way you go. And don't let nobody stop you in that process. That's the way Major went, found his queen, and he did it. And now he's here to tell us about it. And the floor is yours, sir.
Yay, yay. Look, man, I'm here to tell you, bruh, that joint was one for the books. You feel me? It was one for the books.
Definitely.
Anybody that was there could tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. I don't know what the best part of it was, and it just blew whatever expectations I had out of the water. If I'm being totally honest, I'm talking about like from the actual ceremony itself. It was beautiful. What people's main takeaway from the actual ceremony was, they thought everybody just looked amazing, and the vows. That's what I keep hearing about. The vows, the vows, the vows. Bruh, I had several applause lines in my vows. Who has applause lines in their vows? You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't expecting all of that. But people was clapping and
Yeah.
laughing and cheering the whole time that we're seeing the vows, man. Like, that lets you know how engaged people were, and how much the ceremony just brought them in and made them feel what was going on. And so the consensus was I pretty much knocked my vows out of the park, right? Then my lady comes with her vows. Bruh, listen, she comes up and she's like, when she walks up, she's shaking. She's so nervous, and she's so just, I guess, into it. She's feeling it so much. She's very nervous. And then she starts, after I finish my vows, she starts hers. And the level of raw emotion and the level of feeling and love in this woman's words. They say to everybody, they say the whole damn room was just crying. They was passing the Kleenex around like, yo, do we have any more? Like, because they was running out of Kleenex.
Listen,
So many people kept asking for the box because the tears was just flowing. Grown ass men up in there just boohoo crying. I was like, wow, everybody was so touched. You know what I'm saying? It was absolutely
Yeah, that
beautiful. Go ahead. Go
you know,
ahead.
I was
Go
gonna
ahead.
say that caught me on the side too. I was like this. I was like this. You know what I'm saying? We can't
Yeah.
have the boohoo crying, so we like,
Right.
in the little tear ducts in the side. I was like, whew, felt it. I felt it
Bro.
heavy. It was so funny you
Woo.
said that, because the woman that was in front of me,
Yeah.
she she had some tissues, and I
Uh-huh.
guess the women that were on my well, the lady that was on my row, and the women that were in front of us, they were crying, and the lady
Yeah.
passed back the tissue, and this one had the whole crowd bust open laughing. Is when they was
Yeah.
like, "You still got some tissues left?" Oh man, the crowd erupted when she
It
said
was
that, right?
insane.
And it was
It
just
was
so it was
insane.
so it was very insane, and it was just a surreal moment. And when I say, it's like you could feel the love through the vows, because it
Right.
wasn't rehearsed. It was just coming straight from the heart, and that's what made it so powerful.
Yes. And I told her that. I'm like, hey, because she wanted to write stuff down, put stuff on the phone. No, we gonna go up there and we just gonna speak. You know what I'm saying? And when you start speaking, you gonna see it. It's gonna flow. And that's just what it did. Oh my God, her speech would, or not even her speech, her vows were just amazing and so heartfelt. And after that, I mean, everybody would. kind of pretty much went on an emotional roller coaster because there was funny parts. You know what I mean? When she was talking about how we actually met in a club. You know what I mean? And that's very rare, you know, especially a spot like Iguanas. Most cats, you know, you go to Iguanas, myself included, you're not looking for a wife at Iguanas. You know what I'm saying? It's just not the vibe. It's just not.
No.
And that just goes to show you, man, like there's an exception to every rule because as sure as I got a name, I saw this girl and I'm watching her and how she's carrying herself, and I'm like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. I said to myself, yo, if this girl acts anything like she looks, it's gonna be a situation. And it turned out, man, her inner qualities were 10 times better than her looks. That's a flex right there. You know what I mean? Females be flexing on all the wrong things. That's a flex. When your inner qualities are better than your looks, bro, you everything. So yeah, I started very early. That first week that I met her, I talked to my mom over the phone. I'm like, I met this amazing new girl, man. Real talk. If she is consistent with the person she's been all week and she's anything like that, like for real, this is not her representative, but this is her, I'm done. And that's exactly what happened, bro. It was heavy. So yeah, that was great. You know, the initial ceremony was amazing. Then there was the
You get a
reception.
little modest about them vows, though, bro. I don't know why you being humble. So
What's up?
here's the unedited take. So my personal favorite part of the whole thing was,
Okay.
you know, your vows were on point, but the beautiful part, and I loved it because it was such a genuine, sincere moment, and that's how you know, like you said, it wasn't anything rehearsed or anything. When he was done with his vows and just laying it all on the table, the poor woman, she comes up to give her vows, and she's fighting to speak at all because she's boohoo crying over everything. She can't give 3, 4, 5 words without catching some.
It went
And
down. Yeah.
I'm cracking up inside, but at the same time, I can't help but feel it in my chest because I see the poor thing. She's overcome with love for you, and I can
Yes.
tell it's sincere because you know you ain't gonna put no front of that on your wedding on your big day. So she was super sensitive to everything, and she just received everything that you had to give to her in that moment in front of your friends and family. And she was
Yes.
fighting through it. God bless her. But when she finally started to get her little on her roll in between her little sobs and everything,
Right.
um, she mirrored it right back in her own way.
Yes, she
So the
did.
love was definitely on point. It was beautiful, if for no other reason than because of that. So it was genuine, it was sincere, it was heartfelt. Um, it wasn't Disney style. Like if you look turn on the Hallmark Channel, it's not some Tyler Perry production, but the
Right.
beauty of it was everything you'd expect to see in a film. That's where real love was right there on display.
I
So
appreciate that.
big ups to
Yes.
that, man.
I appreciate that, man. Listen,
Definitely,
the way to celebrate that, like I said in my vows, you know, the way to celebrate that is in a moment of matrimony, like real talk. You know what I'm saying? If it's there and you know it's there, you can't be playing with these women, man. You gotta, you know, a lot of cats out there that have some pretty good women, and y'all cats be playing with them. You know what I'm saying? Do it. And we need more black families because you know we need more black relationships as a start. I guess black relationships lead to black marriage, marriages lead to black families lead to black nation. You know what I mean? And so that's cross
Super.
nation building. At the end of the day, it starts, you know, healthy relationships, and we move forward. So yeah, thank you for that, Bob. You know, but yeah, you know, the vows were ridiculous. You know, they were just off the chain. Everybody, that was their favorite part of the ceremony. Then
yeah. And
there was the reception. Oh my sweet baby Jesus. Go ahead, Aunt.
no, I was gonna say,
Go ahead. You was
real
gonna
quick
say
about the vows. Real quick about the vows is that I think when Bobby
yeah,
addressed it, you know, because we all seen it and we've heard it, I think what hit her the most
yeah.
is because of who you are. And I say that because you're a man of leadership, you're a man of strength, and you don't break or you're not brittle. So you always come with this sternness. I think everybody that knows Major as a stern dude. He's a good dude, but he's very stern because he don't play the radio, he don't play the BS. So I think whenever you hear somebody that is so stern that you look at like that, say some words that are so soft, subtle, and sweet, lovable, it kind of
Mm-hmm.
blows you out of the water. And I think that's the reaction
Mm.
she got, where she couldn't speak her vows because of hearing how the words, the soft spoken words, the very kind hearted words that you use to describe her, it blew her
Yes.
away. You know what I'm saying? Even though she's been
Mm.
around you before she got married, I
Something
think
that
just in a
Right.
room where people know who you are as a character and speaking on it vocally, it all just taking it all in, it just blew her back.
No doubt.
something else to
No
tack
doubt.
on at the end of that, and this isn't the hype major. This isn't to blow him up or nothing, but this is just raw facts. Now,
For it, man.
look, I don't like
Yeah.
I don't like attaching my name to BS, so I'm not gonna say it if it ain't legit and if it's not 100%. You ain't gonna have my name out here in these streets dirty like that. But
I
legit,
hear
when
you.
I'm there, we waiting for the bride and everyone to show up and everything. And so, the guests are there. I'm chopping up a little bit with the people next to me. And, we're asking each other, questions. How you doing? What's your name? Okay, cool. You here for the bride, the groom, or how you know such and such. And when I'm talking to the people that know Major, like over here, with the groom's family, with the groom's friends, whatever, whether it's coworkers,
Yeah.
whatever. And one of the things that I kept hearing about you, because of course, we're talking about people, catching up stories and everything. One of the key consistent things, if I spoke to 10 people, then at least six of them said it. But
Mm.
every single time I spoke to them, we're talking about you. Yeah, he's a good dude, whatever. The number one thing,
Mm.
might have been two, three, four, five, but the number one thing that I heard in correlation with your name, and this is a huge pro tip for not just the fellas, but for everyone out there. The number one pro tip I heard about you was references to your character,
Mm.
Mm.
specifically your
Okay.
character. How he's a
Okay.
solid dude, he's a upright, righteous dude. He's a dude with integrity. Your character, people praising that, and that's powerful. Because
That's beautiful.
your name is your name. Your name is currency out here.
It means
Mm.
something.
They always talk about how your name will enter doors. They'll be whispered among people long before you ever enter in. So before you even bump into whether it's powerful people or powerless people,
Mm-hmm.
if you got that name out there, then you already good behind those doors. And you never even been there. So if that was a room full of top notch, high level people,
Right.
you would have been in good company because would have come there to recognize, oh, he's that dude. Okay, cool. And so, like Ann said, when you have this woman recognizing this is the caliber of dude that's there with her, it only hits
Mm-hmm.
all the more when you're saying these good things because it's not some, jackleg, dusty dude saying these things. He said that to nine different women. He texted them same exact vows to 12 women this morning. Now you know that it's all about you. So the
Got it.
character means something. Nowadays, character is a very rare attribute. Not a lot of people got that these days. So when you bump into people that's got integrity, character, they're righteous people,
Mm.
those are the people you want to make them kind of connections to.
No doubt. Hey, I appreciate that,
Yeah.
man. I didn't know that, because I wasn't privy to those conversations. I'm in the back hiding. So I didn't know, man. That's great news, man. That's good to hear. You know what I'm saying? And those guys, some people got invited, some people didn't, right? And a lot of the guys that I, didn't invite, I had some people ask me, oh, why didn't you invite such and such? Why didn't you invite such and such? And at the end of the day, a lot of the people that weren't invited, um, it has to do with character. Some guys, they're unfortunately, over time, their character, there was issues with their character where it was flailing, and I just can't have cats like that around me, man. Like, real talk, integrity is
Mm.
everything to me. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate, brothers and sisters speaking
Ultra
on that
facts.
in that way. But as far as the vows, man, like I said, everybody, that was their thing. People, my uncle said your vows should be etched in stone. That should be taught somewhere. I was like, wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, my OGs are telling me this type of stuff. I'm like, wow. So I'm just gonna put it out there, man. The queen made it easy. You know what I'm saying? Like, she made it easy. She is a phenomenal woman. You know what I'm saying? So I could say, okay, I could say all these wonderful things about it because they're all true, and I left some stuff out. I was mad at myself, you know what I mean? But such a good, solid woman. Like I was telling some of the homies, man, at the reception later on, I was like, yo, my girl messed me up, bro. When she told me when you do the garter toss, I think I told y'all this. I might have told y'all this before. But like when you do the garter toss, you take the thing off her leg and you throw it, whatever the case may be. And my girl she always does stuff like this. A testament to how good of a woman she is. She's like, yo, I bought 2 garters. Now the first garter I'm gonna give to you. You put it in your pocket. The one you take off my leg, you put it in your back pocket, and you throw the other one that you didn't take off of me. Because I don't want no other man having nothing that I took off my body. Bruh. Are you kidding me? Like, yo, I'm looking at this girl like she got 3 heads. Like, just
let me how about quick? Let me get my composure together. Hold on. Let me.
I never would have thought a woman would think like that. That just lets you know how both of you guys
think. Because nobody thinks like that. That's
that lets you know how much she aligns up with you.
Bro, it threw me off. I'm like, damn. You feel me?
Outside the box like that.
I can't hear you breaking up.
Who thinks like that?
Bro, exactly.
And I mean, in the best possible way. Yeah. Who's conscious of that kind of thing like that?
Exactly.
That would have gone over so many people's heads.
That whatever. Yeah. Bro, that's the type of woman I'm dealing with. So Shorty get what she want. You know what I'm saying? Like Shorty, every word of those vows apply to this woman because she's just that good of a woman. Like, bro, the things that she says, the things that she does just wow me constantly. And she's always about making us better, making our situation better. It's great. We still want to make it better. I'm the same way. When you find somebody who matches you like that, we competing with each other at ways to make us better. Bruh, it's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm able to say things like that about her because she just makes it so easy. You feel me? So yeah.
You deserve that. We are over the moon for you. And that's why you had so many people turn out in force fully at both of y'all's back, man. We support y'all. We love y'all. Both of y'all deserve this. Good people deserve good people. So we're looking forward to the Major Gage dynasty. Thrack.
Exactly. It's good. You know what I'm saying? They already talking about kids and oh my God, and we gonna be working on some stuff, man. We practicing already, so yeah. It's coming together.
Take your time, Pastor. Take your time.
Definitely, man.
Ceremony.
What else you got?
And then, like I said, there was the reception. Hello.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, I don't know. Your service is looking a little nervous, my brother.
Oh, that's Major.
Your Wi-Fi is acting creepy, my brother.
Hello.
Yeah, can you? Yeah, we can hear you, Major. You can hear me, right, Bobby?
Loud and clear.
Oh, okay. So yes, Major.
Might be a connection. Major, if you can hear me and you want Wi-Fi, try disconnecting from the Wi-Fi and reconnecting. Might need to just check the cobweb. But yeah, so while Major's getting it sorted out, and what were some of your thoughts about the reception? How did that hit you?
Yeah, the reception was pretty dope. I like the reception. The ambiance of the reception was just off the chain. It was really, really great. I like the vibe of everything. Also with what do you call it? With Fee. Miss Forbes, she was doing a great job. I think she did a phenomenal job, you know, um, and she did a phenomenal job, and it was just phenomenally great. And I really thank Fee for that. I had to make a post about it. And here's the thing: I did not want to post any pictures. I didn't want to post any pictures, right? I was like,
Okay,
I'm gonna wait till Major and his wife post them pictures before I take off with anything.
right.
Fee started posting pictures,
Oh
right?
no.
I was like, all right, Fee done threw about 5 pictures up, right? And it's so funny.
Off
This is
top.
like the funniest thing, right? Because I'm
Hmm.
like, all right, Major ain't say nothing. Major cool with it. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. So he throws up another picture. She throws up another one, then another one, then another one. I'm like, all right, okay. So let me go ahead. Since she done about 4 or 5 pictures in, let me go ahead and put her picture up to acknowledge the great job she did. I put the
Right.
picture up, and I'm like, the first comment is Major's comment, like, oh man, I was looking for a picture to use to, show support and love for what Felicia did for us. And that
Right.
joint crushed me, dog. I was like,
No, it's
I
good.
said,
It's good.
all the pictures, this man ain't write that. Then my picture, he said, oh man, I'm gonna have to use that one, man. I'm like, oh Lord. So
It's good,
that
bro.
was funny to
Listen.
me.
No, it's cool. I get it. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, and I wanted to post earlier, but I still have family over here. So
Mhm.
imagine, like, my aunt, her kid, my other aunt, her kid, her husband, my dad and his girlfriend, everybody's still here. My girl's mom, everybody was still here. So I didn't really have time to go, I didn't have a spare second to go find pictures and post or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
saw Felicia. Felicia was posting actually during the event. So
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But and I was, because I wanted to make sure I acknowledged her. I was going to post about the wedding first and then acknowledge her like on the next post or whatever.
Mhm.
But you did it. You just got to it first, bro. Ain't nothing. It's
Mhm.
all good, man. I ain't mad at it. I'm just glad she got her recognition. And even still today, I had to text her pictures because there weren't that many pictures of her. You know what that tells me? Everybody was so caught up in the moment
Yeah.
that people weren't really taking pictures like that. They took some,
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
missed certain people because people were so caught up in the moment. Like they were just
Yeah.
having so
Yeah.
much fun, they forgot to take pictures of certain people. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like Felicia still, she got about 5 or 6 pictures in total. You know what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
saying? And people, there's certain moments that, I got a few different pictures or whatever and a few different videos, but
Mhm.
people were caught up because heartfelt things were also said at the reception. You know what I'm saying? When the best
Mhm.
men and the bridesmaids, maid of honor got up and they spoke, man, that was heavy. He spoke, the family people and, even some of the co-workers and so forth, when they got up and spoke, people were listening, man. Like people, sometimes you go to weddings and people are talking and nobody's really paying attention.
Mhm.
Man, I had people come like Bobby said, man, the way them people talked about you at the reception, bro, like, that was so heavy, man. Like, I can't believe it. I didn't even know you like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm
Mhm.
like, wow. Like everything was so heartfelt and real. And, you know,
Mhm.
what was so dope about me that stood out for the reception, my God, it was so much damn fun. Oh, I can't remember the last
Yeah.
time I had that much. I cannot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bobby was tripping off the song we came in on. We came in off Boosie, Wipe Me Down. But listen, let me
Oh
tell
yeah.
you
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
What I love, man, let me tell you what I love about the
Top
ceremony.
5 moment of the year, and it ain't even February yet.
Bruh,
Easy.
bruh. Listen, my wedding was blackety black, 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 bruh. Listen, man. We came in
Mhm.
off Boosie, Wipe Me Down. My best man came in off Who Run It, bruh. Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? You feel me?
Yeah.
We had barbecue, mac and cheese. We had ribs. The food. I think the food was pretty damn good. What y'all think? The food
Yeah.
was
Yeah. The
pretty
food was
damn
I
good,
good.
enjoyed my
right?
plate. I enjoyed
Off the
my plate.
chain. Black
That's not
owned,
always the case
black
every
owned.
single event, but I enjoyed the food on my plate in that event. I appreciated that.
Yeah, the food was
Black
good.
owned
Our waitress
restaurant,
gave
bro.
us our waitress gave us
Which
a little more than what we wanted, but
there you go. There you
that's
go.
another
They
story for
looked
another
out.
day.
Right.
And what was the name of this lovely restaurant that made their
Coop Spot.
contributions to
It's called Coop Spot Food Truck. Check them out, man. They legit. You know, they got a food truck be on 103rd and 7th Ave, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You did?
Yeah,
And up in
Oh,
across the street from Pembroke Lakes Mall on Thursday nights. They legit. The place that we rented from, the hall, black owned. You know how
nice.
I get down, man. I went out of my
Yeah,
way to make sure that everything was pretty much black owned. The hall was black
yeah.
owned. LNS Blissful Memories, black
Nice.
owned. The wedding coordinator, Wendy Fortune, black owned. Darden Events. That's the name of her organization. Who else? DJ Froggy, black owned entity. Felicia, Felicia Forbes, black
Mhm.
owned. She does hostings. I mean, everything was blackity. The people we rented our suits from, the formal wear store, black owned, right there in Miami Gardens. Blackity,
Nice.
black, black, black,
oh,
black. We came in off of Wipe Me Down by
ultra
Lil
black,
Booster, man. Huh?
ultra black.
Well, yeah,
Mhm.
ultra black. Man, did you see the dance battles, bruh? Again, blackity black 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 dance battles. The dance battles were epic. They were
Mhm.
epic, bro. Like, ah, I love when brothers and sisters get together and do something like that, and it's
Exactly.
positive and it's blessed, and it just shows how beautiful we are as a people. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
All dolled up. The salon that did was responsible for contributing, doing some of the hair. The people who came there, beautiful salon, dude. It was. I couldn't have asked for more, brother. I couldn't have asked for more. Yo, what was your favorite part of the reception? I missed part of it because my internet was acting up.
No, it was just the ambiance, like the way that everybody vibed, the ambiance, it was just real dope setting.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, everything was just super dope. It was
Dope,
really super dope. Yeah.
dope.
I mean,
I appreciate.
there's definitely some individual moments that were definitely worth remembering. Walking in to wipe me down. Then the groom came in there who running y'all were pulling the 305 from out my spit. I started regressing the goon mode for a minute. I forgot where I was. But overall, the best part was just it was the joy.
Right.
There was just so much. You could literally feel the vibes, feel the happiness from everybody. Everybody's there on one accord, on the same like mindedness. We're all there in support for this wonderful day. We're still high off of the ceremony and the vows and the love that was being expressed. And here we
Yes.
are, a bunch of strangers, some old, some familiar faces, some it's been a while, some brand
Yes.
new, but everybody's there on the same page, linking up, sharing these wonderful moments. And everyone's just in harmony and sync with everybody. No beef, no dysfunction. Everyone's just happy, just enjoying the moment. People dancing together with each other, just parlaying. It was just a wonderful, beautiful experience, and I really couldn't think of a better way to kick the year off. That's
Dope.
definitely the energy and the mission you want to ride through the rest of the year with. That was fantastic.
Dope. It's beautiful, brother. I appreciate that, man. And thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for your wonderful gifts. That's for me and my wife. We went through all the cards and the gifts and everything. We thank you for your wonderful contributions and your presence, man. It couldn't have been better, man. It without a hitch. You know what I'm saying? It was just like you say, the joy, the
Mhm.
raw elation. There are people who were there, no doubt, no BS. There are people who were there who hadn't spoken in years,
Mm.
and now they're speaking again. Family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They hadn't spoken in years. Now they're speaking again. There's family that was there, brother. They never met each other before, and they met each other for the first time at that event. Family
Wow.
members, blood relatives that never met each other, that met for the first time at that event. It brought so many people
Nice.
together. You just don't understand. It's beautiful,
And
son.
that's the power of the union. when you have a union,
Yes.
not only are you bringing one household together, you're bringing extended households together.
Yes.
You guys complement each other's family so good. Her
Hmm.
family complements your family complements. So it's just a great blend between two families, and everybody's pretty much on the same court. It's not like I'm
Yeah.
sitting in here with Project Pat on one side, and you have uh, Prince Hakeem and his family on the other side.
Right.
It's not it's not off balance like that. It's
Hmm.
basically y'all pretty much on the same wavelength. Everybody in there was pretty much on the same wavelength, and it speaks volumes to yourself and your people you're around, because even the guys you grew up with that end up being your best man. And I remember one of the guys, he was at the table with his wife, and so dope. He's a so dope dude. And I think they drove down from Atlanta, and
Mm.
real
Yeah,
powerful
yeah,
couple, man. It's like you're like looking at powerful couples all over the room. When you have
Right.
couples that was there together for like 30 plus years, then that the couple that was at the table with me, where they were there, they were married for over 13, 14 years, I think. And then you had other people that were married in there for like 15, 18 years. So it's a
Hmm.
stability. You have a bunch of people that understands the value of building a union and a strong household base. Even talking
Yeah.
to him, he's a mentor, and you could tell by just talking to him how his kids and his children are enlightened by his ideology and his information. That's not the regular black man that you run across. That's an
Right.
intellectual top being that you can get information and knowledge from. And it's just so
Yeah.
great to be in presence of people like that. And just for him to even come and acknowledge what we're doing here on the platform just goes to show you that we're on the right path to where everybody else wants the information to go. And I'm
No
just,
doubt.
super ecstatic about that, and just, meeting different people. That just is the highlight of everything that we're doing so far. So it's definitely important when you talk about building a foundation and how to build a union correctly. And that's where the chemistry, like I say, comes from. Having that strong chemistry, you build, it's one of the key pieces of building a concrete foundation.
Hmm. Yes, sir. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. All right.
So, man, we got a lot of things for you guys tonight, man. Definitely question of the day is definitely popping.
Mhm.
So
All right.
before we get into that, I definitely want to share a little video, because it's just a real quick one. Basically how sometimes build a building model. Sometimes we don't understand. Starting somewhere is how you progress into another level. You know what I'm saying? When you start off as a single person, you want to progress to in a relationship, getting engaged and into marriage. When you're a person that's out here in the working force, you want a job, you want to get into a field career and then elevate up in that job, or you might break away and start your own business. But everything in life has to have a starting point and a process to going to your end goal. So building the process. And I just want to show you this video that kind of will help you in that area to do it. Like I
Mm.
said, it's a very short video, so just pay attention, all right? All right.
Okay.
Execute, build, expand, organize, and focus your mind until your craziest ideas become reality. If you don't have ideas, read. If you have ideas but can't articulate them, write. If you have ideas and the clarity to execute, build, expand, organize, and focus your mind until your craziest ideas become reality.
All right. So basically, get get an idea, start with it, build on it. If you can't build in that area, figure out another way to, get to where you need to get to. Never be stagnant about anything. And I think in the relationship realm, that's as well too. I think sometimes we get in relationships and we get stagnant, whether it's the man or the woman. Sometimes we get too complacent. So
Mm.
sometimes when you look like you're just standing still, create something, spark something that'll send you in another direction that will get you to another level that you're trying to obtain. So, here at Manversations, our goal is to try to educate you as much as possible and give you guys some tools to help you alongside with life. Life is not nothing that any of us have a manual book for. We just pretty much go along in the process. But in the process of it, we run across people that have a little bit more experience than us. And sometimes their experience can take little gems out of it and can apply it to our lives so we can have also a life that is filled with gems. And then we pass that on to whether your children, friends, or other family members so that they can also be sparked with those gems and create gems on their own. So never be stagnant, always come together, always try to find some way that you can also, take it to another level. And I think it's very important because a lot of times when we stay stagnant, whether it's at a job or in a relationship, things fall apart. And then when it falls apart and goes downhill, then everything else crumbles. So you don't want to get to that level. You don't never want to just stay stagnant in one area. Always keep it going. Always keep your mind functioning because you just never know that one thing that you thought about can spark a whole generational wealth for you or even propel you into another level that you never thought you would ever be in before. I remember I had shared an article on my page one time, and one of my Facebook friends, he's married. He's been with his wife for over 20 something years. He has 3 children, and they're grown. And I remember I was sharing, you remember the little, I think he was a 14-year-old kid who the mother bought him, instead of buying him Nikes, she went and bought Nike stocks. And I shared that article, and he said, you know what? I'm just sitting here on money. And then that article made me spark something. And that sparked him to invest in his children. And then guess what? He ended up starting an LLC, and now he has a foundation for autism out of it. And now he's trying to link up with the NFL. So it's always something that can spark you and get you to another level that you look back and say, damn, I would have never been here 3 years ago if I didn't get that initial spark from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So just never idolize, always keep yourself functioning, keep yourself going. So you guys have anything to add on to that?
I just think it's a great video. It's short, but there's a lot of information in there. And I run into people all the time like that who they have ideas, but they don't know how to articulate them. They want to get places, but they don't know how to take the steps toward it. So I think that applied to life, I think that's absolutely imperative. That people have those type of philosophies and thought processes, man. That was heavy. It's very short, but it's very heavy. That'd probably be a good TikTok video to put out because, if you're not certain, whatever the case may be, you write things down, all of a sudden there's clarity because you're organizing your thoughts, and when you organize your thoughts, you're able to better move on them. Exactly. And you're able to better articulate things, once you start to intake more knowledge. Like I think they said, hey, if you don't know how to articulate them, I believe that they said, okay, read. A lot of us, that's our Achilles heel. We don't read, and we need to absolutely start doing that because there's so much information out there, and we have so much talent and so much potential, but without without applying it to life, without the application aspect of it, we just, like you said, we're just stagnant. We're just running in place. That was a very powerful video.
Right. Stagnance is death. I mean, if you're, as human beings, not even just in human beings, but it's a universal law that which is stagnant dies. Any way you look, if you look and you see like a body of water, if you see a lake or if you see any water that's stagnant, usually it's very toxic and very hazardous. So there's usually all kind of disease and all kind of things brewing in the water. You see mold and algae and stuff growing on top of it. If you were to try and take a sip from it, even if you were dehydrated, you'd probably die from some kind of viruses or bodies that you take into your body. If your blood isn't flowing, your limbs are going to start rotting and start decomposing. If food isn't preserved or it's not quickly digested or converted into something else or preserved, then it's going to rot and it's going to fall apart. Everything living that is stuck in place dies. And it's the same for human beings. When we're not in motion or we're not doing something being useful, even in the things we're doing, if we're unconstructive, That's usually when people start getting in trouble. You heard the saying that says, "Idle hands the devil's workshop." So if you're not finding something to do, somebody else or something else is going to find something for you to do. So it is in our very nature and our being to be in motion and doing something. And you have to feed your mind. You have to find ways to be able to express yourself and get those things out. Like I said, if you don't have any ideas, read a book, read some different books, get
Yeah.
some ideas from other places, take them in. If you can't express those ideas, you don't know how to get it out, find different ways. Maybe turn to art, maybe start writing, but find ways to get these things that you have inside of you outside of you. And doing that is like any other process. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Um, Learn how to have conversations that are meaningful and constructive with other people. You know, we're really good at having all kind of fun banter and stuff. We can talk about sports all day. We can talk about the movies that we saw. We can talk about what shows we've been binging on Netflix. But can you have
Mm.
conversations with people where you can discuss ideas, even if they're out there real far off? Can you have those conversations and not be done within 5 minutes, but really get in depth? You know,
Right.
these are the things you have to start targeting. And it sounds minor and trivial, but there's a lot of great ideas that are going into the grave with people. You
Mm.
know, who knows what inventions, what cures, what philosophies, what ways of seeing things are washed up and they never had a chance to come out because we just didn't think that it was important to come out or we didn't have the means to do that. So
Mm.
definitely have to find ways to eliminate stagnance in your life and always keep growing, keep learning, uh, keep getting better physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Always seek growth. If you're one place too long, shake it up, do something different, get active.
Yes. Agreed, brother.
Definitely.
Let me
So
go ahead.
no, go ahead, Megan.
I was gonna just holler at some of the folks that's in the chat. Shout out to
Oh
brother
yeah,
Lowell, sister Mila Renee. Lowell says, oh, and also Natasha Gill. Um,
Tasha!
yeah, Lowell says marriage and family are the foundation of a community and the foundation of society. Everything starts with family. And Mila Renee, I forget something I said or something one of us said, and she said that was dope. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate you for chiming in. Lidney Carroll, also shout out to you as well. Shout out to all the listeners. Go ahead,
definitely.
brother.
No, no, I was gonna say, people don't understand when you talk about not being stagnant. We're seeing a lot of our brothers are taking the leadership role and are understanding that our place in society has been diminished, and we are on our process of making ourselves more known now than before. We're
Mm,
seeing great leadership coming out to the foreground. Before, it used to be leadership that was basically, on a local level with people that we see every day. Now you're starting to see a lot of the celebrities or people that we idolize as celebrities to take leadership on another level. They're not
mm,
they're trying to focus on a mentorship level and bring that to a national light, like we saw with Deion Sanders, doing what
right.
he does for the HBCU, and just his viral videos of how he speaks life into those students is so
Mm-hmm.
powerful. And we don't
Yes,
understand
it
it and
is.
we take that very lightly. And I think you know, the thing is, when black men speak, a lot of times they get attacked and their voices get diminished. And I know everybody always say, the black woman's voice is not heard and anything like that. But the
Mm,
reality of it is that black men really don't have a platform on a national level where their voice is just straight across the board heard. Every
right.
time a black man comes up and says something, he gets attacked and then he gets hit with the toxic masculinity, just for
Mm-hmm.
making sure his leadership is present. And that's what they
Right.
do. They try to undermine the black male leadership with these words that they can use to destroy you. So when you have somebody like Deion Sanders who comes up on a platform and says, this is what we need to do. to help our students at the HBCUs. If you want the HBCUs to come, I mean, if you want the students to come to the HBCUs and be competitive like the PWIs, then you need to do a lot of changes in here to be competitive and make it attractive for these children to come here. And in the process of that, he got ridiculed, he got thrown under the bus. You know, they did some real horrible stuff. Even his last game, they were playing a song talking about if you want to go, then just let them go. And, you know, we do little slick things to people that are really out here in their best interest trying to help out the Black community. And then we beg that we, you know, the other hand of it is that we beg celebrities to say something. And then when they do something, then we throw them under the bus. And then now they feel like, damned if I do, damned if I don't. And then most times they'll just go back in their corner and won't say nothing at all. So I felt like that was a very spark. I felt like what he did sparked a whole generation, a whole movement that a lot of people aren't aware of. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because people ridiculed Deion Sanders for what he was doing and said, oh, he wanted to just leave to go to a white school. And they never held the HBCUs and the faculty accountable. And what I have a problem with in the Black community, this is men and women, I have a big problem in the Black community about the word accountability, you know? And when it comes to accountability as Black people collectively, we don't like that word. We get shunned when somebody points something out and hold us accountable. We'll sit back and use all the excuses, or we use the deflection tactics. And I think it's very horrible because in order for us to get to where we need to get to, we have to break down the structure of what is here already and rebuild one that is more suitable and more is more in a lines for us to get tangible assets and tangible improvements for our community and for the next generation of children. I've always stated before that in order for us to succeed, the previous generation have to lay the groundwork so the next generation can survive. If the previous generation does not do what it does for the next generation, then we have to hold ourselves accountable for that, because you know why? The previous generation before us did that for us. The Dr. Kings, the Malcolm X, we can even go back to the Harriet Tubman, where these key people have made it to where the way we're living now is because of them, because of their process, because instead of going out partying and gyrating with each other, they were home figuring out ways so we can get from off this plantation that we've been on from day one. Well, I wouldn't say day one, but I would say about 300-400 years from now, right? So we're trying to get off of this plantation that they put us on, and we can't get off because we're not making the tangible moves we need to make in every generation. We dropped the ball, and some of that had to do with the 3-strike laws that they put out here. White supremacy is always going to put its traps out here to cause disruption and to cause us to always be in the last class of every race of people, right? So we went from second-class citizens to now fifth class, because you have the Afghans coming, and then you have the Ukrainians come. So now you have all these people that's ahead of us. You already have the Asians ahead of us. You already have the Hispanics ahead of us. You have the Arabs ahead of us. White's been on top. So it's like everybody comes in, and as soon as they come in, we keep dropping, because we're sitting back asking and taking symbolism and not asking and moving for tangible stuff. And that's the problem that we have. And why I sit back and I say this, and I'm going on this rant, because I'm passionate. This goes back to chemistry. When you have chemistry with your community, you have chemistry with your brotherhood, you have chemistry with your sisterhood. That chemistry, that passion aligns you up to a part where you want something better for your community. And you're starting to see a lot of people being passionate because enough is enough. We understand that the cycle, the hamster wheel we've been on constantly, we've been on this hamster wheel, and we haven't gotten off to say, you know what? I don't need to be on this hamster wheel no more. I've been on this hamster wheel for about 300-400 years. Let me get the hell up off this hamster wheel and figure out where the hell I'm going, because I thought I was moving forward and I'm just sitting here in this damn cylinder going round and round and round and round and ain't going nowhere. So now you have Deion Sanders, who did what he did for the HBCUs. We clowned him because it was only one person that was exposing who the HBC facility, how the HBCs are ran, the faculty and everybody else that are doing janky stuff under the umbrella of a Black institution, the HBCU. Right. And now we have Ed Reed. And Ed Reed, I am so glad Ed Reed stood up, because we have, and I'm starting to watch a lot of Sambo people, Sambo individuals that are clowning Ed Reed, talking about he did it wrong, where he should have signed the contract and he should have, signed the contract first and then came out and said what he, no, Ed Reed did it right. When he got there, he let it be known. And we have to stop this old tone stuff. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about, we got to do certain things in a certain way. Listen, regardless if you're nice, regardless if you're unapologetic and don't give a fuck, you're going to get treated by white supremacy the same way. So I'd rather be a person that just say, I don't care, I'm out here for my peoples, and this is what needs to be done. Because when you spark that energy and you spark that flame, you have more riders behind you than if you go the subtle route and you talk about, well, we're just going to try to get things done, or I'm going to just sit at the table and see what gets done at the table. Nothing gets done at that table. The reason why nothing gets done at that table, because when you sit at that table, you allow your opposition to take from you more than you're getting from them. Right. And that's the sad reality. The portions don't come out even. It's uneven. You're getting crumbs and they're getting the whole pie, and you allow them to get the whole pie because your negotiation skills and your demanding skills just suck. Let's just call it what it is. It's garbage. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I want to show you guys the passion that our brother had, and then we can get into discussing it a little bit more. All right?
I've been mutting and showing shit. I chose not to. But now I'm out here walking with the football team, picking up trash. But I'm mutting us. Man, get out of here, man. I should leave. I'm not even under contract doing this. I'm mutting us? Man, get out of here, man. They mutt me. These motherfuckers ain't even clean my goddamn office when I got here. I'm mutting y'all? Get your ass, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. All this shit here was trash in front of me. Who you think got this shit cleared out? That building right there got trash in it. It's fucking trash. What are you talking about? Need no goddamn donors to come out and help out, because people just want money. That's why.
He said the donors just want money. I think that was very powerful, because everybody wants to join on things as a money grab. And I think it's very sad that we don't see that this brother, when he went on this rant, and this is the rant that VCU got it, Bethune-Cookman University got upset with his rant, because he got on live and just started exposing a lot of things that was bad in the HBCUs. And we have to understand that BCU also allegedly had a history of different things that just wasn't working right. I vaguely remember, but it was a situation about funding or something like that, mismanaging of funding at Bethune-Cookman. And the thing about it is, instead of us coming together to figure out, or going up there to find out what's going on in Bethune-Cookman, we sat back and ridiculed it, because a lot of people went to FAMU. And FAMU and Bethune always been a rivalry, right? And the thing about it is, you got people from FAMU that sit back and ridicule Bethune-Cookman and call it, oh, that's the degenerate school. So if you didn't have any money, you went to Bethune-Cookman. And I think that's the wrong attitude we have as well. And we see that throughout our school systems down here, whether it's you have Miami Northwestern versus Central, and I see the rivalry that goes on with that. And there's nothing wrong with clean rivalry, but it becomes very disrespectful. And when it gets to that level, we all lose, because we're not focusing on the children. We're focusing on our personal gain or attachment to that school, and that's where we go wrong at. Instead of collectively saying, you know what, I don't have nothing against Northwestern. They need to go out there and they get a ring for their class. Central get a ring for their class, and we can all celebrate together. And that's the same thing I feel like FAMU and BC. Hey, FAMU is legendary. Let's see what we could do to get BCU up there and make that legendary as well. But now you have somebody that's there exposing it and showing you that the faculty and everybody that's running this is not running it right. We're running it janky. And we always talk about Black business being ran janky, but we don't talk about Black institutes that's being ran janky. And there has to be a part where we go and hold these people accountable, and people need to be held accountable. And the reason why they're trying to hold Deion and Ed Reed accountable and point the finger back at them is because they don't want you guys to go up that pole. Once you go up that ladder inside the facility, you'll start to realize that as the closer you get to the top, the more you get to people that don't look like us. And that's why a lot of these facilities and institutions are ran janky, because they're purposely designed like that so that the children go to these PWIs and not the HBCUs. And remember, HBCUs aren't HBCUs like they used to be. They're HBCUs that are now hubs for people that come in, immigrants, people that come in from a different nation. They benefit from HBCUs more than foundational Black Americans benefit from HBCUs. So it's a trick game, and they don't want the fire to start in these buildings, because then when you start to see all of the dirt that happened, because now the fire, now you got to take everything out to try to save the building, and they rather get rid of the firemen than to sit back and try to tell or show people really what's going on in the building so we could correct it. So after he made that video, he made this video. And I think this was a powerful video because instead of backing down, he let people know.
Yeah, I've never had as many people here in the recruiting time, and Coach, I've been saying that. We've been here at 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes. I even slept here one night to make sure I was comfortable, and I was. They don't want me here. They do not want me here because I tell the truth.
And that's the bottom line. They don't want him here because he told the truth. So they got rid of him. He's no longer going to be the head coach. And what is crazy about that is he has his nephew that transferred to the school from Southern because he was trying to get his nephew on the right track, because they were treating his nephew. He felt like his nephew wasn't getting the right treatment out there. And who better to do it with somebody that's a legendary Hall of Famer who will get his nephew on the right track and also get the program and these other children on the right track, because now Black men they feel like they have an obligation, and now they have the power to go and get us on the right track. So now Deion sparked it, and now Ed Reed was trying to jump on it. And because he exposed it, they eliminated him out of the process. So I want people to understand how important it is for us to be passionate, for us to sit back and want to be unapologetic to get things going and get things right. We're too much on the passive side, and we got to stop that. We got to stop thinking about people's tone and oh, that's not the right way to do it. No, there is no wrong or right way to do it when it comes to accountability. It has to be addressed. You know what I'm saying? It has to be addressed. And sometimes people take extreme means to get things addressed. And if it takes extreme means, then so be it. Because at the end of the day, the end road is that something will get done. So I don't want to be passive and things get swept under the rug when I could be very vocal. And now I got everybody's antennas up. Now things are going to get done, because at the end of the day, you got petitions and everything like that from school officials and heads. And now you have people like Shaq and Edgerrin James, who was by Ed Reed's side, that wanted to come in and do some additional work. So now they're looking at it like, okay, what is there to do? Because if you talk about HBCs need help and you got a guy that's out here helping and now you get rid of him, what's the real issue? So now everybody wants to know what it is. So now the match is lit.
Right.
So now they have to hold themselves accountable and they have to show us what's going on because everybody wants to know now. And if they don't know and you hide it, then your recruiting and your enrollment is going to go down a lot. So you better do damage control and just let everybody know what's going on so we can fix the issue. But it's something that I had to address because Black men are trying their best to come out here to do what they need to do, and they're getting shunned for it, and we need to stop that. So
Yes.
I'll stop with that, and I'll let you guys finish the rest on that one.
I mean, brother, you pretty much hit on all the points. But I'd like to just go back to the specific point of us as a community having a problem with accountability.
Yeah.
And you know, the go-to excuse, you know, you have to really watch people who, like you said, they always have an issue with tone. They have an issue with tone. You know, they get their widow feelings hurt, you know, and they don't want to listen. That's their excuse not to listen. They did this with Kevin Samuels. His tone. Bruh, is the man right or is he right or not? Do you need to work and improve on things or not? That's what the long and short of it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, you know, we can sit up here and talk about tone, and it's always a bad faith argument. Or, you know, I started challenging and pushing back on that because even with our brother Kevin Samuels, everybody had a problem with his tone, but had no problem with the tone of these lunatics that were calling his show. So it's not only a bad faith argument, it's the selective, oh, I don't like this person's tone when it's convenient. If you got a problem with tone, you got a problem with tone overall. Don't come to me with the BS. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, you really start to see that when it comes to these things. HBCUs, unfortunately, you know, they're little coon factories a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the people that are these handkerchief head Negroes that don't do nothing but blabber and write books, just blabber about nothing and write books. They go to HBCU. You know, I struggle to find the people who are in the community out here that are moving and shaking and really making things happen that came from an HBCU. You know, and on one side of me, you know, you want to support it because you know what it has been and where it came from, what the intention is. But on the other side, you see, you know, it's a cesspool. You know what I'm saying? The vast majority of people, I know people. There's a guy who used to be a very good friend of mine. We since fell out for some other stuff, but he was teaching at Florida Memorial. And, you know, he told me the students there, they don't want to learn. They want to party. You know what I mean? They want to party. They, you know, and if you're a teacher and you're teaching at Florida Memorial, you pretty much are at the mercy of the students. If X amount of students write a bad review on you, they trying to kick you up out of there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's a very strange dynamic, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, as a people, we're behind. So we need professors to go in and challenge our students to be the best and brightest. And when they go in and try to do it, like you said, it's another black male going into an institution trying to make a difference and being shunned for it, you know, being run out of the institution. Pretty much, you know, he moved on to some other institution in Colorado now, strangely enough, in Colorado. You know, we are not able to reach the people that we need to reach, you know, and it has a lot to do with us just, you know, we have an excuse for everything. We laugh at everything. We're not getting out here and moving and shaking like we need to. It really, really needs to be addressed. There's no reason that, you know, people should be treating Brother Ed Reed like that. I like the fact that Ed Reed is on some hellfire and brimstone shit, because at the end of the day, if it ain't right, you got to disinfect it. We got to tear it down and rebuild it. But what does Nas say? Destroy and rebuild. That's what we got to do, you know, at the end of the day, because it's too many of these institutions that are like that. It's all over. And this is, this is a symptom of the type of stuff that we enjoy on a daily basis. It's a symptom. I tell people all the time, when you listen to the type of music that's out here, when you watch the type of programming that's on television, it's all negative. It's all disrespectful to Black culture and Black people. And that's by design. You know what I'm saying? But it's stupid in, stupid out. You know what I'm saying? So you intake all this negativity and your output is negative. When somebody's telling you something, when somebody really comes in and they care and they can genuinely make a difference and make you better, you reject them. That's a problem, and it's happening all the time. And as far as these people in the faculty, like you said, the higher up you go in these institutions, you start to see people who don't look like us, and we all know how wonderful a useful coon is. You know what I'm saying? So they go and they hire these handkerchief head Negroes intentionally for the simple fact that they know they're not going to do anything for the people. I just give them X amount of money. They're just going to be quiet and look the other way when all this fuckery's going on. They know they're Negroes, so I'm not surprised that, Ed Reed got that type of pushback and, eventually they let him go, whatever the case may be. I am not surprised, man. These institutions are rotten to the core, unfortunately. And, it's not really much that can be done because, again, a lot of the student body, when you really talk to people, you really talk to the teachers and even other students, they'll tell you, a lot of these students, they just want to party. They just want to pass, and what they learn is kind of irrelevant as long as they get the piece of paper. It's that type of deal. You know what I'm saying? And these institutions are going to have to be cleaned, disinfected from the ground up, for us to start having the type of success that we expect out of them, man. It's a very sad situation, and everything is all about payola out here. I just graduated college not too long ago. You know what I'm saying? I got my my degree in computer information systems, got a bachelor's, and I'm telling you, like, it's funny. You really don't learn a lot. If I'm being totally honest, I just graduated college in 2019, and most of what I learned on the job. You don't learn a lot in college, man, and it's even worse when it's at an HBCU level because unfortunately we're behind in everything. We can't afford to just get the piece of paper and keep it moving. We got to know, because we got to be 10 times better than the white guy or the whatever guy of another race in order to get the employment. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we got a lot of work to do. Got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I before Bobby jump in, I just want to say that was a great point that you made with getting that piece of paper from the HBCUs, because our HBCU certificates and diplomas, degrees, not really valid as much as the PWI. So it's always that, okay, yeah, you might have a degree from an HBCU, and I get the same degree from a PWI. They'll look at the PWI degree overshadow your HBCU degree. And that's very sad, because at the end of the day, it's people in these institutions that select who they want to select to work at that job. So
Yes.
in other words, it's basically, this is just another passive slavery, right? So it's basically showing you that, yes, you're not in chains, you don't have nobody whipping you physically, but you are in financial slavery. And the reason you're in financial slavery is because these loans, we're going to make sure that you're not going to be able to pay them off with the interest rates. And then on top of that, they're really not valued up there with the PWI degrees from our standpoint. And then on top of that, when you look at the totality of it, it's like saying, hey, you're paying off you're not even paying off all of the stuff. And then you have to go get a job with that degree then they're not going to pay you the top value dollar amount for it. So now you're
Right.
slaved into a workforce that you have to try to work to pay your bills. And then the little extra you have over, you have to work and try to put it against your loan without it building up to a point where it's collapsing you. So that's how they keep you at the job, is once they get you inside the degree realms and the college realms, now you have to come out and basically work it off. So I don't
Yeah.
have to beat you with no whip. I don't have to put no chains on you, but you're gonna have to come to my job to try to work off your debt. And that's not to shame anybody with a degree. What I do want to do with the fellas on here is that one day we do dedicate a show with talking about the best ways and the most least financial burden ways to get your degree, and also to get degrees that are very worthy. A lot of times, we have people that have 2, 3 degrees, but guess what? They went and got degrees in fields that is diminishing or not even worth that much. So now you remember, you can't tell the people, oh man, the degree ain't work, so I can't really pay y'all. And he's like, nah, buddy, you signed off for it. You
Yeah.
want to pay us back this money. So
Hmm.
we want to set our brothers up, and even our sisters. A lot of our sisters uh, go to college 4 to 1 times more than the brothers. So our sisters are also falling in that area as well. And it's very important for us to talk about this because I've stepped away, and I love. There was an episode of Kevin Samuels that I thought was very powerful, but everybody gets caught up into the semantics of everything and the emotions of everything, and they didn't see this one episode. But I recorded it and I put it on my page. And this one episode was talking about it was a woman that was talking about how she was so in debt with student loans.
Hmm.
And I had said, I took that because I remember Kevin Samuels broke that all down to her. And I thought it was a powerful episode because me personally, I walked away from a woman, a couple of women that were financially in debt, like seriously in debt with loans. Because you know why I walked away from them? And this is very important. We're talking about men. We want to make sure that our men are in putting themselves in position to be a statistic, which men are 3 times more likely to commit suicide. And a lot of that is because of a lot of financial burden, whether it's from their mother, their family, or even their spouse. And a lot of times that when we get with these women, remember, we're still supposed to be the provider regardless, right?
Right.
Regardless of what she makes or whatever debt she has, you're the man and you're supposed to make sure that the whole household is stable and under control. I will not bring a woman under my household that is so tip-top heavy like that. That
Right.
that is going to kill me in the process. There's certain things that you just don't take on, and I wouldn't even advise women to do that. And it don't even have to go with college when it comes to women. It could be a man having 7 children, and you have to take over his child support payments, especially if
Yeah.
you're married to him. That's a burden. I wouldn't want a woman to take over. Why would you want to take over somebody's reckless behavior? And now that comes out of your pocket when you
Yeah.
could be with somebody and that doesn't happen under your household. So we have to be very conscious about who we align up with and understand, things like that can really throw you in a hole that you may never ever crawl out of. So just be mindful of that when you guys are interacting with each other. So that's just the
Mhm.
point I wanted to make before I let Bobby Drake jump in on that.
No, and that's a very, very important tie-in that you made there. Just a lot of free game there, but also a very important tie-in talking about how the whole issue of people tripping out about tone and everything else. Um, that episode or that just that clip alone, that teaching moment that Kevin flipped right there, that could have been used to give a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of men, especially since, if I'm not mistaken, I remember hearing about that. I don't think I saw it, but I heard about it, and that was one of the segments that he'd had. after the whole average at best viral clip that what really launched him into becoming a household name and becoming well known like that.
Yeah.
That was something that was very valuable that could have possibly given a lot of women who were in that situation an idea of what to tackle to improve themselves or to improve their situation. And that could definitely been very valuable for younger women who have not yet gone down that road and can give them some things to be mindful of and cautious of so they can not just with relationships, but give themselves the best opportunities at surviving and thriving out here in this world. But because everyone's so caught up with, I don't like his tone, or he's a misogynist, he hates women, his mama black, all the other stuff, you completely missed out on this that was worth so much more to you. Um, it's not worth the look. Game is game. Ultimately, the question is, or the question that should be asked is, can I take this and use it for my benefit? I don't care what your disposition is. You could be the most sour, depressing, nastiest person out there. If you have valuable insight that I can use for my growth, if you got this, if you got the game on how I can go ahead and get $1 million in my bank account right now, I don't have to like you. I don't have to like your tone. As long as you don't get out of pocket with me and you don't cross the line, for the most part, I can just sit there, suck it up, and I can just de-stress or cool out later on. But right now, I'm here to get the game.
Right.
And that's something that we have to do. There's a level of maturing and growing up that we have to do. We have to understand that you're not going to like everything and everyone, but when it all boils down to it, you got to be able to push shit to the side and get things done. And this is a lesson that needs to really be taught to us from childhood, because a lot of us have the same mindsets and attitudes that we had when we were children, where, oh, if we don't like the taste of this food, or we're not eating it, it's nutritious, it's gonna make our bodies healthy and strong, it's gonna allow our minds to be sharper, we're gonna grow better, it's good for us, it's what we need to get to the next level of our lives. But because it's not the exact taste we like, we got a problem with it. Oh, I don't want to sit in this class and necessarily learn this subject, or I don't want to pay attention to get my work done because it's boring. Everything in life is not going to entertain you. Everything's not going to have flashing lights and cool sound effects and have a 3D IMAX background. Everything ain't going to be popping like that. Sometimes it's going to be boring. And you got to either find ways to make it entertaining where you can get through it, or sometimes you just got to power through it.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of adults that are the same way. I can't work at this job because I don't like the people there. I don't listen to social hours. Is you here to get paid or not? Do you have bills to pay? Do you enjoy that? Do you enjoy that brand new car that you just got the other day that you still got payments on? Do you like living in the house and in the neighborhood that you currently live in? Do you enjoy being able to go out and eat in places that are at least 3-star and above on a regular basis? Do you like going on regular trips out the country in different places? Do you like the quality of life that you have, or do you want to improve the quality of life that you have? Then you need to work. You need a job that's going to pay over that. You need to be able to have the means to provide for these things. So whether it's the most magical, wonderful job ever created, or it sucks wind, embrace the suck, get through it. I don't got to like you to do business with you. Do you have a profitable business idea? Or do you have the means for me to bring this idea to life? Can we come together and make bread? Then I don't have to like you. I just have to not hate you, but I don't have to like you. A lot of the times the people we get into business with or in these situations with that we like, family or whatever, those be the ones that end up screwing you over. And it'd be the partnerships with people who you barely know that seem to pan out the best. They have the most integrity, they have the most honor, they do right by each other. So we have to learn how to mature and grow up. There's certain things we need to get over. Everyone's tone is not going to be ideal. The information people have to share isn't always going to be ideal. You might not be in the most engaging or dynamic environment, but the question is ultimately, at the end of the day, if this is going to take you to the next level, to where you want to be, then deal with it.
Real
And
talk.
sometimes we have to do, and sometimes the reason why we have to endure some of these things that are less pleasant is because we didn't do what we were supposed to do the first time around. You know, if you
Mm,
make, see, that's another thing that doesn't get talked about because
yes.
time is short. Opportunities are fleeting. So if you burned the candle early, if you didn't make the most of opportunities or didn't do things the first time around, now when it comes back around you the next time, it might not be as optimal as it was before.
Mm.
You know,
Right.
if you still
Real talk.
if you have a cup on the table right now, you miss and knock it over, but you get the glass real quick, you got a towel nearby, and you wipe it up real quick, you might be able to get away without there being too much of a mess. But if you knock that cup over and you take your sweet time getting some paper towels or towel, whatever, now the mess all over the place. If it's fabric or if it's upholstery or something, it's done seeped in. So now you got to go and try and vacuum it up. You got to try and soak up all this stuff. You got to do all this extra stuff that you didn't have to do if you were able to avoid the air in the first place or at least catch it real quick. If you
Mm.
got one little item of laundry to do, you just got to throw it in the washing machine or just wash it by hand or whatever, and you're done. But if you sit back, you don't like doing laundry, and you just let weeks pile up, and now you got this whole giant closet practically full of clothes that need to be washed. That's gonna be an all day job. When you handle things off top in the beginning the right way, you don't have to worry about a huge cleanup.
Mm.
So sometimes when you take too long, when you don't handle things the way you're supposed to off top, then you got to get up and there, break your foot off in some asses, so to speak.
That's a very, very brilliant point, brother. That listen, because everybody always miss that when they start talking about tone. Oh, they sound so mean. Oh Lord Jesus, shut up.
Mhm.
Because you've been fucking up for how long now? You understand what I'm saying? And we got to tell you over and over and over. And my grandmother told me this when I was a kid.
And
You
that's
know, if I
don't
tell
even
you
tell me
something
anymore.
once,
If we're not sick and tired of you already.
yeah, I tell you something once, okay. I tell you something twice, I'm a little more annoyed. By the third or fourth time, I gotta tell you, it's gonna come out different because you're not listening. Your hard-headed monkey ass is still doing the same dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you kind of need to hear it with not such a pleasant tone at this point because you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's real talk. You know, so then we get into that space. Very eloquently put, brother. I thank you for adding that because, bruh, that's what it really boils down to at the end of the day. People are hard-headed, they don't listen, and they don't want to take accountability, improve, and grow. And so we gotta talk to your stupid ass a certain way because you're not getting it. Unfortunately, we don't want to. Not myself, but just people generally speaking. And this dude, they've never heard Marcus Garvey. Have you ever heard Marcus Garvey speak? You want to talk about somebody with tone that will light your ass up? Yo, this dude was harsh as hell.
That
But
brother,
the
boy,
point of the matter
he
is,
brought all the blood clot out.
yes.
Yeah.
But the point of the matter is, this brother, his messaging was on point. What he was saying, the content of what he was saying, the meat and potatoes, the substance was on point. And people need to
Mm.
start focusing on that more than just petty things like tone. I'm just
Mhm.
saying. I mean, if you really want to grow, if you really want to learn, some of our best teachers, they didn't make it all pretty with, a cherry on top. Cut the bullshit. Go ahead, brothers. Yeah, go ahead. Go
Exactly.
ahead. I could go on all day on this one. Ooh, that one.
Nah,
That
you right
that
on
needed to
that.
be said, Bob. That needed to be said.
It does. It did need to be said because even if you look at some of the pioneers, with the Malcolm X and
Yeah.
um, brother Khalid that got killed from the Black
Oh
Panthers.
yes. Mm-hmm.
When you look at Marcus Garvey, you look at some of your very harsh, unapologetic individuals, they
Mm-hmm.
got the message going. Even they're not
Yes.
even here physically. Their spirit still lives on
Right.
because of their message. Because at the end of the day, no matter if you like it or not, facts is facts. That doesn't go
Period.
anywhere. You can rub your emotions the wrong way, but facts is
Mm-hmm.
facts. You can't debunk facts. And we have to understand that when something is right and something is going, you got to take heed to it, whether you like it or not. Because at the end of the day,
Right.
a lot of times when these brothers pass away, you were combative when they were here, and when they pass away, now you're basically doing everything they told you to do when they were here. You know what I'm saying? So we see that with Kevin Samuels, we see that with Malcolm X, we see that with Marcus Garvey, we see that Dr. Khalil, we see that all the time. It's like when they're gone, now you want to take heed to the message, embrace the people while they're here. So that way, when they're here, you can embrace the message, but you can also ask them questions to even further the message and see how much more you could get. Don't wait till somebody's dead and gone, and then you be like, they ain't got nothing for you. All you rely on is what they left behind. So sometimes we don't take advantage of opportunity when we have opportunity in front of us. We like to be combative with these people and lose them in the process.
A lot of us are overgrown children, bro. That's the long and short of it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That mentality is just childish. I'm not listening to what you saying because you sound mean. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm so annoyed. I get so annoyed when I hear people say that, like, because the value of this person's message should overshadow any and all of that. You know, there are people, you know, who are harsh, you know, and I think they probably should dial it back a bit. I'd like to hear them dial it back a bit sometime, but the content, the message of what they're saying, our brother Jason Black, that's another one. Ooh, Jason Black is harsh, but God damn it, don't he tell the truth? You understand what I'm saying? And Professor Black too. These brothers are, they don't take no prisoners. But that's
no
kind
quarter
of
gift at all.
That's what we need.
Exactly.
Listen, you know, that docile, you know, I'm gonna coddle you, and you know, they want to effeminize us at the end of the day. You know, they want to tell us how to talk. You know, and that's going to stop. That's going to stop. You know, if people even, I was pointing out to you, Anthony, people, you know, telling you what and what not to post and whatever the case may be, and, you know, how you're commenting on something. Man, look, we said what we said. Period. That's what it is.
The funny thing is,
but if by the time I finish editing my comment to appease you, it gets back to me. Well, I'm sorry, it comes from me as what you was gonna say. So you're trying to put the thoughts in my head to tell me what to say. You know, a lot of these folks, a lot of these females, actually, they need to slow down. You know, because they do that regular. Oh, you shouldn't post this. You shouldn't talk about this. Are you kidding me? Nah, bro. That ain't how we doing that.
The funny thing is, if you think about all these people that have these so-called harsh and hurtful and damaging deliveries, it doesn't matter if they said it 5 minutes ago or 5 decades ago. We still remember them.
Yes.
We still talk about them.
Yes.
We still share their ideas. And in most cases, we turn around and say, hey, you know, they're right about what they said. Where were all these so-called good tone speakers, these people with the right tones? They said the right things. They didn't ruffle any feathers. How many of them can we even remember today?
Zero.
The people who didn't ruffle any feathers, they didn't make anybody uncomfortable. How many of those people who do we remember their names? And if you remember their names, what they actually talked about and stood for? Nothing.
They were
because in most cases, they got no substance. Because the truth is, when you are telling the truth, as the saying goes, a truth teller has no friends.
Right.
That's scripture too. The Bible says that a prophet has no honor in his country among his own people. We see people all the time when you are telling the truth, when you are correcting misinformation, when you are trying to change the status quo, when you're trying to course correct, there's always going to be people who aren't going to like that for one reason or the other. So if you are actually doing something or saying something that's worth doing or saying, everyone's not going to be in agreement. And if you do have everyone that's in agreement, that might mean that something is off. Maybe you're not as on point as you think you are. Because there should be some level of pushback and resistance, because no matter what a situation is, whether it's good or bad, you're always going to have people who are benefiting from it. So if there's no one who is benefiting from this dysfunction, who is trying to check you and correct you, then that means what you're doing isn't a bother. It's not a threat to the status quo.
Yes.
Exactly. And here's the thing about that, right? So when you do that, when you sit back and you want to water down your message to coddle people's ears so they can take it in, a lot of times by watering it down, it doesn't have the same concentration. You know, if I serve you Kool-Aid and I have it right, and I go add water on top of water, you're not going to want to even take a sip of that Kool-Aid, right? Because it has no strength to it. It's just going to be flavored water, right? And that's going to be disgusting. So a lot of times people who do that, they don't live in our minds long. Why? Because when you do that, you chip away from the power of the message, and now you become a fence rider. So when you become a fence rider, you play both sides of the fence. Nobody wants to take you serious. This is why when you stand on your square, you get more done doing that, because people know who they're dealing with. When you're sitting there riding the fence, I can't take you seriously because you blow how the wind blows. Nobody takes nobody serious like that. So
how many times I post about fence straddlers, and
yeah, exactly.
How many times I post about them?
Exactly, and they all fall off. They all fall off. Every last fence. Think about every last. I'm talking to everybody watching this. Think of every last fence rider you know of. They fell off. They were on top. They were saying good things. And the minute they start flip-flopping, and then you don't hold them accountable. You know, one of the biggest #1 flip-floppers, fence riders that I just seen the other day, and I had to do some cartwheels because I never thought this day was coming. But Roland Martin.
Oh, God. Jesus.
This man called out the Boule. On national TV, the black media.
He is Boule.
Exactly my point. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
God.
The black media has made this because black media has been solid, because the Tariqs, because the Professor Truth, because Jason Black. These fellas have been so tight with their message. They never flexed or bend. And you had a guy like Roland and all these other links that run around here talking this talk, and they talk big 1 minute, then they sit back and play the opposition ideology the next minute, and then this minute they talk about sport. There is nothing substantial about them. They blow with the wind, and now they crumbling. I never would have thought that a Boule would call out the Boules and then talk about he got smoke for the Boules. The pot calling the kettle black on live television is the most funniest shit I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's some bullshit. You don't get no more coonish than Roland Martin's ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. I mean, Boule, coon. I mean, it's all there, and I mean, it's on full display every time this fool opens his mouth. And he's always talking down to people. You stupid fool. Like, dude, this guy, his fat jolly ass, he's always denigrating black society, the grassroots people, and uplifting these people that nobody knows and nobody cares about, that are, you know, a part of his Boule cabinet, his intelligentsia. How you go call him out when you been the main Boule cat? You know what I'm saying? Out here, you know, denigrating black society and trying to undermine what people on the grassroots are doing. Now you see that the grassroots has all the momentum. So that's the only place you can go. So now you trying to talk like we talk, quite frankly, and it's just blowing up in your face. Nobody listens to it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, other people like him, Roland Martin, Michael Eric Dyson, these people that just kind of talk in circles and never really say anything. You know what I'm saying? Nobody really listens to them. You know, there's a whole movement in this country, you know, for reparations and things like that. You're supposedly a black pundit, you know, you're pro-black, but you talking down on the reparations movement. How that work? You understand? Man, don't give me
the Michael Hoteps and all these people. I was shocked to even see him join that side of the force. And that lets you know how much you flip-flop. You blow with the wind. Now people don't even respect you. The large following he had just started falling apart because people understand, and they don't want to mess with somebody who blows in the wind. And that's just it's a bad look for him. And
Yeah.
also with Roland Martin, he's a descendant of Haiti, from what I know,
Right.
from what I recall, right?
Right.
And you're running around with Hillary Clinton and all these Democratic constituents that go out there and decimate Haiti and do all type of things behind the scene against Haiti, and you're sitting here campaigning
Right.
for these same people that decimate your people. That lets me know how much self-hate you have. This is why a lot of
Campaigning and literally dancing a whole
Literally
entire
dancing a jig.
yeah,
not a dance, not a two-step. You're doing a literal jig.
Yeah.
exactly.
All we needed was a banjo playing, someone with a washboard to go ahead and make that rake and scrape sound, and someone blowing on a whole whiskey jug to make music. It
Oh,
literally.
it's a train
He'd
wreck.
been better off if he was groveling on the ground. That would have been one
Exactly.
step up above what he did.
Yeah, it was
and
sad. It
and
was
I
hard to
love it.
watch. It
I
was hard.
love every aspect of it because it lets us know that black men out here with our women are rising up. We're tired of the foolishness and we're
Mm-hmm.
getting to the nitty gritty, and I love it. And all these people that have been running us into the slaughterhouse, that have kept us on the hamster wheel, they're getting all out the way. They're getting ran over, move to the side, whatever statement you want to use for them, they're no longer on the top anymore. And thank goodness, because they were leading our people into the burning building, just like our great Dr. King said before.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And I
Real
love
talk.
it. I love the black media. I love everybody who's out there getting the information for themselves and seeing what the real matrix look like and who the
Mm.
the key players in it that keep the matrix going, that they use in our community to keep us away from the truth. And
Right.
I just, like I said, I love it. I love, man, 2023, for me to see that starting off the year. Oh, yeah, it's going to be a great year for us
It's
and for the
going
whole
down
black
this.
community. It's going down. It's definitely
It's
going
going
down.
down this year. Yeah. Yeah, it's
so,
going down.
what do we want to get into? Do we want to get into the question Bobby had, or do we want to get into the question of the day?
What question did Bobby have? Talk to me. Let's go. Let's get a Bobby's question, man. Let's do it.
All right, so
And
here
then get
goes
to the
Bobby's
question that
question
you have.
right here.
Okay.
So Bobby posted this up, right? I
Mm.
have dated James, a single dad with 2 kids for 9 years. I've raised them since they were 5 and 6. They are teens now. I told his daughter to do her chores, and she told me, "You should have had kids. We are not your kids, and you're not his wife. Why are you here?" James said nothing, and she wants to know, what advice does she have in this? What advice do you guys give her
Wow.
in this situation
Wow.
that you guys see now?
I got some advice. I
Yeah,
got some great advice. Off rip, you have disrespectful children in the house. That has to be handled before anything, because at the end of the day, you'd have moved into this man's house. You understand? And he has not disciplined his kids. He has no governance over their mouths. If they can talk to you like that, they can say
yeah,
anything else. If they can say anything, they can pretty much do anything. So first and foremost, you need to have a serious conversation with James about these spoiled, nasty mouth ass children. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no tolerance for that. I used to live with a woman some time ago who had a kid. You know what I'm saying? And you know it's coming, because
yeah,
kids don't really understand context. And okay, this guy's here, but my dad is there. And wait a minute, what is this? The kids don't really get it. So you know it's
yeah,
coming at some point. It's just a matter of how it comes when it comes. You
yeah,
ain't my daddy is pretty much, you probably gonna get that. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But how you handle it is very important, because that's going to determine whether or not you have continued problems. if you nip it in the bud and you know, you get this little kid together, you know, and you set them straight, you should be okay. But if you let that linger and fester and this kid continues to be disrespectful to you, you're going to have huge problems. It's going to be, you might fall into depression over this type of thing, because clearly you're living with the gentleman in this case, and you know, she does make a solid point. You're not his wife. That probably should be rectified at some point. But if you want to ever get to that wife point, number one, the kid shouldn't be saying that. You understand what I'm saying? And number two, if you ever want to get to that wife point, there absolutely has to be respect from the children. You cannot have a functioning household where you have children disrespecting adults in that manner. It's outrageous. That thing got me mad when I read that. You know, because it did, because man, I wish one of these little crumb snatchers would talk to me like that. Okay. It's gonna get real spicy up in this bitch. It's not gonna happen. You understand? Yeah. Especially, you know, you contribute to the household. You know, she probably, I would hope, you know, she has genuine love for this child. You know what I'm saying? If that's a child that came from a man that she genuinely cares about, she probably has love for this child. But you know, when that's the energy and that's allowed, you know, and if she's saying that, my you know, she's that outrageous with it, my take is that she's been allowed to say things like that before. Yeah, she hasn't. Exactly. And I'm very big on a child staying in a child's place. You know what I'm saying? And this is the problem we have in a lot of these homes. You have no order, you have no structure, you have no discipline. You're the father. You're supposed to be the primary disciplinarian. You're supposed to have checked that shit at the door a long time ago.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? I wish a child of mine would say some shit like that to any adult, let alone it be my woman.
Yeah.
Yo. So yeah, that you know, she really needs to have a serious conversation with the father, and you know, maybe bring the child in later and explain to them why that was wrong. That cannot happen again. It cannot happen continually. And ultimately, if that's not resolved, you know, she needs to get out of that relationship. You can't have a successful relationship with a disrespectful ass slick mouth child like that. You know, you can't do it.
Exactly.
Period.
Me, because I know Bobby gonna drop some gems on it, because this is where he so I'm definitely looking forward to what Bobby got to say. But me personally, I agree with everything you said, Major. Very disrespectful. It lets me know that the man really doesn't care for the woman herself, because if you really value your woman like that, you wouldn't sit back and not say nothing. You'll check it right then and there, or you'll bring her in the room and have a dialogue between you and your daughter. And all three of you guys would be in the room and get it straight, so it doesn't happen again. There's no security being felt from the man when it comes to his girlfriend, right?
Right.
And I say girlfriend because the daughter said, you're not even his wife. And what stood out to me is, you've been dealing with this guy for 9 years. So it's not something that she smelled herself overnight. It seems to me like this has been progressed from over the years, and it got to this point now where she's old enough to basically want to start a physical fight. That's what it sounded like to me. Like she wants to throw blows with the girlfriend. You feel me? So I think it becomes very dangerous at this point for the girlfriend. And for 9 years, he's supposed to put a ring on it by then. There's no reason for 9 years, unless you as a man find there's something wrong with her and you're just, you know, stringing her along.
Real talk.
That's the only thing I can say. But it's still, you're wasting her time, you're wasting her years, and you're not even in a place where you feel comfortable as far as building with her to establish to the next level. So there's so many red flags in this that I think she allowed it to go on a little too long. And that's part of her accountability that she has to take she has to take that accountability aspect of it as far as her allowing it to go on 9 years. That should have been nipped in the bud from the very beginning, because if it did, we wouldn't even extend 9 years later to this point right now. So
Agreed.
I think it's accountability on everybody in the house, but that to me is her accountability. I do feel for her, and I would, like you say, I would advise her to get out of that situation. But 9 years is a little too long for no ring, no establishment, no nothing like that.
Ridiculous.
Go out there, find somebody else that appreciates you, and find somebody else who has children that appreciate you, because apparently it's not there. So I'll leave it on that note and pass it over to Bob.
Bob?
Yeah, so both of you all did a good job catching up on the thoughts that I had about this. Um, Personally, for me, the whole, before even getting to the issue or the incident that took place, just the whole setup of what you described, the current state of the relationship and everything, for me was an issue. There's a lot of things that personally I wouldn't
Right.
co-sign on or advise anyone to engage in. From basically living with a whole family that you're not probably tied to, um, being a boyfriend or girlfriend for 9 years in that situation. But that's me myself. I can't hold anybody to the standards that I have for myself. People are where they are. So, as the saying goes, you don't go to war with the army that you want to have. You go to war with the army that you got. So, if you got two broke down knights and a dusty old horse, Virginia think of make it work.
Yeah.
So they at where they at. Look, they got the crackhead spades hand they got. So the question now is, well, how do we play this thing the best way we can? We probably might not win, but can we at least look halfway respectable before this game ends? So first and foremost, the thing that I think needs to be addressed is the fact that you're in this relationship with this man for 9 whole years, and
Yeah.
you are still listed officially as a girlfriend, not even a fiance. Either you're just
Crazy.
basically the chick that's being dated. In addition to that, you have moved in with this person. From the sounds of it, you're contributing. That wasn't indicated, but even if she's not paying any bills or she's not contributing monetarily to the household, she's still performing labor in the fact that she has herself acknowledged that she has raised these children for several years. So 5 and 6, they're in the teens. So that's roughly about 7, maybe 8 years at least spent being basically a nanny and a caretaker. That is legitimate profession. You have people that get paid to do that. So she did work, she did contribute to the household, and she did a job that a lot of people wouldn't necessarily sign up for either. Some people would rather be a maid before they be a caretaker or a nanny, because kids, especially not yours, can be a handful, and you don't
Yeah.
even have at the end of the day the fond memories of making the kids or having fun getting to that point. So you basically get all the killer without any of the filler. So you've done this for him and for this family, and now you get to a point where you're telling this child to do something, something that also you've probably done many times because you're raising these children. This can't possibly be the first time you've asked the child to do chores. That's literally impossible. There's no
Mhm.
scenario in the galaxy where that happens. You've done this, and this child responds in the way she did. First and foremost, that says to me that this child, not sure where they got the idea from, whether it's from the father or whether it's from what they're seeing in the neighborhood or in society or other places. But what this says is that this child has a sense of what relationships and what family structure is supposed to look like and represent. And you got to be careful with children, because a lot of the times we like to play like children are stupid and dumb, even from much smaller ages. We like to think that we can say and do all kind of things on the sneak and the sly around them, and because
Right.
they're kids, because they don't have significant life experience, that they're gonna be none the wise. They ain't gonna pick up on it.
Mm.
These kids, especially today, they are damn smart,
Yeah.
damn smart,
They pick up on
brighter than a
everything.
lot of adults. They're brighter than a lot
Mhm.
of adults. I've been in a room with some children. I have some classroom experience. I used to teach for nearly a decade, and I've worked with
Oh,
children myself since I was in my teenage years. So I'm no stranger to working with children. And some of the conversations that I've had with them, and more importantly, some of the conversations I've overheard them have with each other, oh, them kids is on it. They might not say a lot. They might make some goofy decisions sometimes, but that has nothing to do with the way they think and what they retain and what they've seen and observed. I've learned from a lot of these kids. In some cases, I think I might have learned from them more than they have from me. They taught me a lot of things about the world out here and how they see things. So this child is aware enough to realize that the way that their current household situation is set up is not the norm. Or at least in their minds, this is not the way it's supposed to represent.
Right.
So this child is in a situation. I don't know if it's because of some issues with their own biological mother or whatever the case may be, but for whatever reason, in this moment, she came and tried to address this child the way she would her own child. And the child basically said, "Look, I'm not feeling it today. In fact, you ain't even my mama. Why are you here? Why are you doing this?" But most important of all, the father, the patriarch of the household, heard this and didn't say a damn thing.
Nah, bro.
That to me lets me know and gives me a pretty strong idea that he probably feels the same way she does. The only difference is Buddy's getting buns from her every night.
Yeah.
He's getting the house cleaned up by her. She's here watching his kids and taking the load off of his shoulders, making his life easier than what it would be if she wasn't there.
Right.
But at the same time, he wasn't going to correct the child, and that tells me three different possible things. Maybe only one of them's true, maybe all three of them, but at least one of those things is true. The first thing it tells me is that number one, he also understands that this is not the proper setup. Number two, it tells me that he knows that his child is not wrong for thinking this way because he probably wasn't going to co-sign if his child was in this situation. Number three, it tells me that he does not, like you all said, he does not value her enough to at least put up a proper front and check the child for being so disrespectful or whatever. He made a choice, and it ain't her. I don't know if it's possible to come back from something like that, and to be honest, I don't know if you'd want to. If we can be a little raw, this isn't your family. These aren't your children. You've invested 9 years here, but that doesn't mean you have to be locked here. This is the perfect opportunity to leave, find a better situation. In my estimation, you wasted 9 years. You can't get that back, but you don't have to waste the next 9 years. But hey, that's up there. That's the situation. But this is where you are. The car is in front of you. And truth be told, I would think that if someone were to ask a question like that, they probably already know. Only thing I can say is whatever decision that you make, and this is for any decision that you make that might be somewhat similar to this. When you have these predicaments, whatever decision you make the decision and stick with the decision. Right? You know, you have situations where people find out or suspect that their mate is cheating on them. They have questions, well, should I leave? Should I not leave? And I say, you know, the decision to make is make a decision that you can live with. If you're going to leave, leave. But if you leave, don't turn around and start complaining. You got out. If you choose to stay, then okay, stay and make the best out of the situation. But don't go now throwing it up in their face, nitpicking, and make the situation worse. Whatever decision you make the decision and commit to it. Because even if it's a bad situation, you can get a lot better out of that situation if you just roll with it than trying to complain in the midst of it. So the complaining is what's going to make things worse. That's what's going to really bring chaos to you. You can shut out a lot of things. You can tune out a lot of things. You can be happy in some unfavorable situations if you just bear down, accept it, and move through it.
Right.
But if that's what you're going to do, then do it. No 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So she knows the situation. Whatever she feels the best or she's most comfortable with that she can live with, make that decision and stick with it.
Agreed.
Exactly. I agree with that. And before we transition to our next topic, I want to let that person know, whoever the person that wrote this, also take in consideration that there might be an underlying deep love that he still has for his child's mother. Because when you have life and you create life with somebody, it's sometimes it's an unconditional bond that still lingers even though you're not together. This is why it's always a running thing about baby moms and baby dads always still having sex with each other because of that strong bond that they had in connection of the child that they created. So sometimes like Bobby was saying, maybe he feels that same way. Maybe he's still aligned up with his baby moms, and that's probably why he doesn't check her because he still feels like there's a probability or even a lifeline that is
Mm.
still lingering between him and his child's mother. So be very cautious about that, especially when dealing with people that have children together. All right, so moving
Agreed.
on to moving on to our next topic. This is one that Major wanted to make sure was the question of the day. I think it was a great question of the day, and we're
Mm.
definitely going to bring it up here. And for our fellas and our viewers and our ladies to dwell on this. Why aren't marriages lasting like our grandparents' generation?
Hmm.
Very good question.
Hmm.
Who wants to take a crack at that?
Mm.
I'll take a crack at it, then you guys follow
Go
me.
for it, man. Go for it, cause I'm about to go all the way in on that one. Go for it, bro. Go for it.
Yeah. All right. So
Woo!
the reason there's so many different levels of why we're not having the same lasting marriages like the previous generations before us.
Mhm.
There's a combination of so many. It's a loaded question for me because I could take it into the realms of the matrix and systematical racism and white supremacy. I could bring it in that realms, but I'm not even going to go into that part of it. I'm just going to keep it at the basis of why we don't have the same connection like our grandparents did. Our grandparents had a code of conduct, which mean that they had aligned up with ideologies and things that they would never jeopardize to make their situation um, crumble into shambles, meaning that they had a codification. If you listen to our grandparents and you know even some of your grandparents, you knew that they hid a lot of stories from you. Maybe your grandfather might have stepped out, maybe your
Mhm.
grandmother might have stepped out.
Mhm.
I know 40 years later, I found out that my grandmother stepped out on my grandfather. This is 40
Mhm.
years later. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
This wasn't something that was privy to it wasn't privy to our family like that. Well, not the grandchildren or anybody like that. Maybe just the core base of the family. Maybe some of the children, as far as my uncles and aunties, maybe some of them found out. Maybe some family members, um, maybe my grand uncle or grand aunt, maybe they might have known about it, or maybe
Mhm.
they don't know, and it was just a personal thing that kept so long, and it finally came out, and everybody knew. But they had the dignity, and they had a moral code to make sure that anything that was considered bad inside of that structure, that it would never leak down to the children or the grandchildren because they didn't want that to affect anything that was going on in their family structure.
Right.
Today, you don't have that. As soon as something happens, everybody's airing it out. Everybody knows your business. There is no code of conduct behind that. I'm not saying that it's justified or right. I'm just letting you know that some things were able to look past in the better in for the embetterment of the children and grandchildren that came along. So you had that aspect of it. You also had the aspect of it where women didn't have a means of earning more than their men. It was very illegal in some cases, depending on how far back you go, for women to even work. And then even the ones that did work got housekeeping jobs. So they weren't up to on the level of the men who were laborers and construction workers and people that were getting real solid paychecks. They would bring
Mhm.
it home and they would give it to their wives because their wives would sit back and be the accountant and know where the money and the funds should go, because the wives were home, so they had time to look at the bills. How much was the bills? How much was the groceries? They had time to finance and structure everything for that household to run, because the father, the head of the household, he was too busy working, coming home to eat, shower up, and then having to go to sleep. And depending on his work shift that he was acquired, maybe he was a 12 hours, 14 hours, 16-hour shift that he had to work. He really didn't have much time to interact with his children or even interact with his wife as much as he wanted to. And that's why the dining room table was such a pillar in the Black community, because the dining room table is pretty much the same thing as your therapist's couch. So this is where the father would come down, or everybody in the family would sit at the dinner table, and they would socialize, and they would express anything that they were going through, whether the children were going through issues in school or their friends, and they would tell their parents, what was going on in their daily activity. The wife would tell her husband, what was the daily activity that happened around the house, or what needed to be fixed. And then the father would tell what going on at work or anything else that he needed to know. So it was basically a whole communication table slash therapy space for the whole household to run in a healthy manner. So we have extracted that nowadays. We don't have a dining room table, a traditional eatery or a place that we eat. So now the wife goes and eats in the room, or the husband goes and eats in the room, the children eats in the room. Everybody's in a different area eating their meals. And there's no set time where everybody be like, 8 o'clock, we all meet at the dinner table. Everybody's eating throughout the day, or however their schedule is based. So there is no interaction. There is no therapy session. You don't really know about your children like that nowadays. And then when something happens, you're clueless, because there's no form of communication. And that communication have been broken since we eliminated the dining room table. Our families back in the days, if you look at the 1920s, and I always talk about that, from the 1920s, from the Black Wall Street down, Black Wall Street was very successful because a lot of the Black families aligned up with like-minded individuals, where we talk about, which was the theme of today's show, is the chemistry. They aligned up with their chemistry. They aligned up perfectly to make children and offsprings that were very well educated, very well informed, because of who they lined up with. Nowadays, we're just having sex. We're not aligning up with people. We're just having sex. And in the course of having sex, we're having children with people that we normally shouldn't even be in the room with 5 minutes, much less now having to spend 18 years of our lives trying to co-parent with handling a child today. So the dynamics of how we analyze our mates and how we line up is totally different than our grandparents. They pretty much had a great basis of knowing who they were dealing with and who they were making children with, and they did it in a strategic way. And back then it produced a lot of great individuals, a lot of our ancestors that were very predominant and very articulate and very knowledgeable. And now we just having making children with a lot of crackhead, basehead people that really don't produce anything but just another form of generational curse. And we have lost that issue of it as well. And like I say, there's so many other aspects of it I don't want to get into, but I'll leave you guys with that. And I pass it on to, I guess, Bobby J, because I know Major is going to definitely bring it home for us. So I'll leave it to you, Bobby J.
So I want to, there's a couple things, I'll try to be brief about it, but there's a couple things I want to say as to why I believe that these marriages today aren't lasting the way our grandparents did. One of the first things that I can definitely look at is there's a lot of philosophies that we have, primarily, and I'm not putting this on the women, but I'm just saying that this is primarily a thing that I hear about mainly from women when it comes to relationships, specifically when it comes to getting married early. A common theme that I hear from a lot of sisters relating to this, especially when we're talking about settling down early, is they don't want to settle down and get married too early because they want to be able to find themselves first.
Hmm.
I can understand that to a degree, but see, here's the thing. If you, as a healthy, functional, mature person, if self discovery is something that is so pivotal to you, and truth be told, it should be pivotal to all of us. Goes back to what we said earlier about being stagnant. If you're stagnant, you're dying. If you're not
Mm.
growing, you're dying. There's no in between. There's no purgatory for that. You're either alive or dead. You're either moving more into life or you're moving away from life into death. There's no middle ground with that. So the thing is, while self-discovery is important and it's something that you need to do, you need to be able to find yourself and learn and know who you are. Here's the thing. That's not something that you do before you get settled down, before you get married. Self-discovery is something that you're going to be doing, that you should be doing until the day you take your last breath. Every single day we're growing. We're becoming a different person. I don't know anybody who is the same person today that they were a decade ago. A lot of times when I'm just sitting down in my thoughts, just reflecting on life and different choices that I'm thinking about making, choices that I've already made, and just looking back at my past and everything. And I look back at me in different stages of my life, and I'm just always personally like in awe that I was this person for different reasons. Some of the negative traits about myself, and maybe even the negative sides of me. Some of the positive things about me. There are things about me today that I like, that I admire, that I've grown into. There's some things about me that I wish I kept from back in the past that I lost one reason or another. But every single day we're growing. So we're always going to be a different person every single day. And you look back and you think about the life that you had and what 2022 was like, what 2021 was like, what 2018 was like, you're going to see that you were a different person every step of the way. And you can see the steps that came into being. So the idea that you want to find yourself before you get married, if that's the case, you're going to be dead in the grave before that happens. That doesn't stop. But one of the other issues with that is when you say that, what you're basically subconsciously telling yourself is that marriage is the end. That's not a continuation on your life. That's not even a comma. That's a period. So what you're doing is you're looking at marriage as if it's some sort of handicap, as if it's some sort of obstacle. When truth be told, your married years are supposed to be some of the best years of your life. You got your soulmate. You finally found your person, the one that it makes sense with. You chose someone that you want to tackle life together with. You're having beautiful children with them. You're raising a family. This is when it gets good. We always hear people talk about when they get married or once they get into long-term relationships, how you have to keep dating this person. Don't stop doing the things that you did to attract this person. If the ladies used to, always look sexy and look their best and wear lingerie or heels or do those things that got the man's attention, you got to keep that going. If the men used to take her out on dates and buy her flowers and all these things and get her random gifts because whatever it was that you did in the beginning, keep it up to keep the flames going. Well, the same thing still exists when you get married. But if your mindset is I have to live life before I get married, okay, so the question is what you gonna do once you get married?
Mm.
That sounds like something boring. That sounds like something dead. So I can't fault anybody for wanting to get out of a dead marriage, a dead relationship, a dead situation. As a living, alive person who's growing and who's about self-discovery, you should want to escape that with a quickness. But the issue is it shouldn't have gotten to that point in the first place because marriage should simply be an enhancer for your life, not a setback, not a liability for your life. So if you have that mindset that I have to get living in life and get fun and enjoyment and good times out of the way before I get married, then it's no wonder marriages aren't going to last. You too busy looking in the past. Your best days aren't ahead of you. Your best days were behind you, and you want to get back to the best days. So that's one reason. The other reason is simply we've really gotten away from the idea of commitment, and we've really become more of a selfish people overall. Um,
Yes.
Self-sacrifice is something that in a relationship has to go both ways. It can't just be one person making all the sacrifices, but at the end of the day, it can't be one person who's just wants to get all the benefits out of things. While we have become more loyal to ourselves in a lot of respects, we've also done that at the sacrifice of every other thing alongside that. And this me mentality, where it's me above everybody else, calls for a lot of issues that we see popping up other places. When you have this selfish mindset that says, I'm all about me and forget anybody else, I'm only out there for myself, that creates a very hostile, very negative, animus type situation where we have going on where people are just doing what's in their best interest. In a lot of cases, they don't take into consideration what's happening with the next person. A lot of people talk about the village and the idea that it takes a village to raise a child to do X, Y, Z, this, that, and the third. But
Mhm.
like anything else, it's similar to a bank account. You have to be able to make deposits in the bank account in order to make withdrawals from the bank account. If you have people who are constantly needy, constantly taking from the village, from the bank account, but they're not contributing anything back, then what's going to happen is you're going to exhaust the village. You're going to bankrupt the account. When you go, instead of being the black, it's going to be the red. You're going to get a negative balance. There's going to be nothing left to give. So if your mindset is that, well, everything has to serve me, and you're not looking to be of service, then of course the marriage isn't going to last. You're going to have a situation where you're with a person who literally just drains you and they steal more life from you instead of giving more life.
Mhm.
Um, so, so go ahead, Major. Kick that out the park because I know you already got the foot warmed up. You've been watching football and everything else, so I know you're ready to get that field goal, that extra point out the way. So
Oh,
go
you
ahead.
already know.
I'm gonna
Shout out to my 49ers. They put it down today, going to the NFC Championship game one time. Yeah, so I'm a little hyped up because of that. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm so lit this evening. But, bruh, I saw this post and it seemed like a relatively simple question, a relatively calm question. It didn't seem like a question that should spark gender war conversation. This is the post that I made earlier in the week saying, can you idiots get off of your gender war conversation for 1 minute and just focus? There's nothing about this post that should have triggered a gender war type of environment or gender war type of responses. And what I noticed, even before I get into the particulars of the post, and I break that down, people weren't even answering the goddamn question that the post was asking. The post did not ask you to characterize how toxic your grandmother and grandfather's relationship was, or how toxic other relationships were that you saw older people have, and to ignore all the positive relationships that older people have had. The post didn't say anything like that. It simply asked, okay, we're making a comparison to relationships of today as opposed to relationships of yesterday. Why do you think we don't have the longevity anymore? It's a reference to compare time frames, and relationships lasting. It's not the green light for you to talk about all the bad shit that happened, in the generations that led up to you. That's not what it was supposed to do. But my God, some people just jumped out the goddamn window. And I'm like, damn, y'all are triggered for any and everything. And you use any and everything to as a launch pad in many cases. Unfortunately, it was mostly women, as a launch pad to project your misandry. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody taking that. Ain't no nigga finna cheat on me. Ain't no nigga finna do this. Ain't no nigga finna do that. That. Shut up. You know what I'm saying? Everybody does not deserve to be heard. There was some really bird brain knucklehead responses on that post, and it just irked me because, again, that's not what the post was about. So let me reel some of those people in and get back to answering the damn question that was being asked to begin with. It had nothing to do with all the toxicity that you feel your grandmother experienced or your great grandmother experienced or whatever the case may be. It had nothing to do with that. First and foremost, people, everything does not have to be a trigger for your misandry and the gender war rhetoric that you want to spew. Everything doesn't have to be a trigger for that. And that's why a lot of us don't grow. Because instead of looking for solutions in these discussions, you're just looking for some slick shit to say. You know, and a lot of people really don't have the mental capacity to even engage in some of these discussions with. You know what I'm saying? And I've made a commitment to myself this year. When I start hearing people just talk stupid, I'm not even going to respond. You know what I'm saying? It's just not worth it because we have bigger fish to fry. I'm about finding solutions. So that being said, you know, one of the main reasons, and Jason Black talked about this in detail. He talks about this in detail very often, that we don't have the longevity in today's relationships that we had back in the day is because people are not being raised and groomed to be proper mates for the opposite sex. That is at the crux of the problem. They are not people are not raising their boys to be leaders, to be forthright, to be, you know, to engage with women in a certain way. They're not raising their daughters to learn how to do the things that, you know, you do to keep up a household or whatever the case may be. They're actually raising their daughters to be against those things. You know what I'm saying? That you know, cooking and cleaning and all that type of stuff. That's part of it. It's not everything. But, you know, I hear women all the time talking about how a man who expects a woman to cook or clean, he wants a maid or he wants a slave. And, you know, that type of despicable approach to what it is that women have traditionally done in the home, you know, it decimates, you know, any idea of, you know, cultivating young women, you know, to grow up to be able to maintain a home like that. You know, your boys, for instance, I always put it like this: women love to pretend that men don't have chores. You know what I'm saying? I challenge you. I implore any one of you guys out there, you know, ask your woman when the weekend comes, baby, go wash the cars and see how she look at you. You know what I'm saying? Go wash the cars. Go take out the garbage. See how she looks at you. You understand? We have chores. We have things that we are supposed to do because we're men. Okay. Do you hear me saying, you know, oh, I'm not your slave when it's time to paint the garage? No, I get my ass out there and I paint the garage. And this is, you know, I learned this from my great grandmother. This is game I got from my great grandmother. She told me, you know, you meet a woman, this is even before all this neck waving about, you know, chores and, you know, I ain't no slave. Before that really became a thing, I guess she must have saw it coming. She was like, hey, you know, any woman that gives you a hard time about doing things that a woman's supposed to do is not worth your. My great grandmother told me that. I must have been 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I don't really know what to do with that information, but that's real, you know, because she comes from an era where the women in the household appreciated and enjoyed the things that they did to contribute to the household. She would tell dudes all the time, get out my kitchen. Why? Because that was her domain. She took pride in what she did in the kitchen. You understand where I'm coming from? This is the type of mentality, you know, that at the end of the day, we need to start embracing. What you do in the household is your contribution. It is important. It is necessary. And both men and women need to embrace that and make it work for them in a way that, okay, not so much, oh, I'm a slave or whatever the case may be, but this is what I contribute. This is, what makes me an added value to the household. We don't have that type of mentality anymore. We just don't, because we're not being raised to. We're not being taught, that these things give you added value to a household. These things make you a quality man or a quality woman. People don't teach their kids shit no more. I'm telling you what I know. When I was in high school, while I was in high school and after, I mentored younger children. I've talked about this before. And like some things that people like you, me, you, Bobby, Anthony, myself, the things that we think are normal and everybody should know, you say stuff to these kids, they have no idea. They've never heard this before. This is their first time hearing it from you. I know kids who were 2 grades below me who look to me as a father figure. And I'm like, how? You know what I'm saying? But I did as much as I could because I knew that I was just privy to knowledge that they didn't have. So I'm saying all that to say this. That's one main reason, because we're not cultivated from a young age to know how to be quality mates. That's huge. Secondly, all of this additional attention that goes to what is your business. Okay. We never had that back in the days, even in my day, you know what I'm saying? But back in the days, before there was an internet, before there was an Instagram, before you had some knucklehead going and posting everything that's going on in your life publicly for millions of people to see and comment on. And of course, they think that Instagram, people have addictions to social media, quiet as it's kept. They think that Instagram and Facebook are the holy grail of everything. And they actually listen to what these people say. Well, if you got all these different perspectives chiming in on a matter that's your business, especially if it's something that's embarrassing or something that you're very sensitive about, at the end of the day, you end up feeling a level of embarrassment that's, it's immeasurable. And chances are your response is going to be to leave that person because it gets overwhelming. The attention is being paid to, your situation, whatever the case may be, is overwhelming. You're going to more than likely be encouraged to leave that situation. Lala Anthony is a great example. Everybody and their mama's telling her, girl, you need to leave him. Oh, you need to leave him, girl. You need to leave him. So she ended up leaving him. Have you heard Lala Anthony lately? She sound like she actually says sometimes she wish she had somebody still there to cheat on her. She actually said that. You feel me? Like, so not to say good or bad, right or wrong, but the whole world don't need to know your goddamn business. As simple as that. You feel me? So that's another very weird situation that we're in today that they didn't have back then. Maybe, you talk to your people in your clergy, somebody in your family, if you couldn't quite figure it out. But our business was our business, and it was looked down upon to go blabbing your business to the whole damn world. Number 1, 2, and 3, most people don't wish you well. They're not really trying to help you. They just want to be in your business for the messiness of it. You understand what I'm saying? And in addition to that, I mean, what solutions do you really expect to find from these people? I know people, I see it all the time. Y'all see it too. They post up their most personal problems on Facebook, and then people start chiming in and giving them the business and telling them XYZ, oh, stay out my business. But you put your business up there. I didn't ask you to do this.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing is when they do it to celebrities. Celebrities put all their business up and you commenting because you could see, I comment because I see how it affects other folks. I know what their influence is, and I know how stupid people can be. So I comment, and I put my 2 cents in because I don't want other people to be harmed by this, pretty much. And then they'll get on your post and be banging on you. You need to stay out their business. Whoa! I didn't ask them to share this shit.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Mhm.
So that's another huge issue that we have out here that we didn't have back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And that's another reason. And I think probably the final reason is really at the end of the day, if we're being totally honest, men and women just don't value each other like they used to back in the day, bro. For whatever reason, let it be because of the money situation, let it be because of the years of hurt, you know, that's just kind of stacked up, and you know, taking emotional tolls on people. People, men and women, generally speaking, you know, I see people post all day, and it's always something slick. It like Ant was saying on one of the posts the other day, you know, sister posted something and she was talking about somebody, and you know, she was I think it was the Derek Jackson situation, and she was going in on Derek Jackson, but she had to take a swipe at the men too. It's like, bro, you can't just take accountability without taking a swipe at the opposite sex. Like, what is that about? And I see brothers out there doing that too. Like, people talk about these women. This is why I get on them about, you know, just putting up this arbitrary straw man argument that, oh, you hate women because you call women out on their bullshit. No, there are men out here who really do hate women. You know what I'm saying? I see them all the time. They post some outrageous stuff, and I'm like, whoa, this brother, this is really what he thinks. You know what I'm saying? And when you paint with a broad brush like that and put brothers like us in that category, you look real stupid, and nobody really takes what you're saying seriously, because people who really listen, they know good and full well we don't hate no women. We just keeping it, you
Yeah.
know, we being honest. You know what I'm saying? And you know that at the end of the day, I think that's the biggest part of it. We just don't. We really have a problem with each other. A lot of us, I think it's a mental illness at this point, where you just have a lot of people just have a knee-jerk reaction. As soon as you say something about the opposite sex, they want to go to war. You know what I'm saying? They're not even listening to what you're saying. If you're saying something about black men, they're looking for the part of it that they can disagree with so they can go banging on you. Or you saying something about black women, you know, oh, don't be giving them hoes no shine or whatever the case. It's like, bruh, why not?
Yeah.
Why are we not giving our sisters shine? Why are we not giving brothers shine? There is a deep, deep, dark vein of intolerance, to quote Colin Powell. I never thought I would. That, you know, black men and women have towards each other, where we're just kind of always in this space where we at each other's throats. We can't appreciate each other without taking a shot or without being negative. And I think that has a huge part to do with it. There's some people that are very intelligent people that I like quite a bit, but man, when that misandrist attitude comes out, you know what I'm saying? And when that misogynist attitude comes out, it's prevalent. It's like,
Yeah.
damn, like you really posted that? Because this is the thing. Again, we go back to chemistry, right?
Mhm.
If your chemistry is on, you know, with the opposite gender, you should be able to have discussions, you know, and even be critical of each other without being
Right.
argumentative and you know, confrontational and just over the top. You shouldn't have to jump out the window. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And you got some people, they will only jump out the window when it's a certain gender. The same
Exactly.
exact thing can happen with the other gender. They ain't gonna they ain't gonna do too much. But yo, when it's that gender that's the opposite of them, that gender that they have the problem with, oh, they jump out the window. And it's like you really can't expect people to take you seriously like that. So I will say to my brothers and sisters out there, yo, let's be more measured and more mature in these type of conversations and not jump out the window. Let's answer the question. Let's not get into our gender war bag for every little petty bullshit thing. No, we cannot do that.
Exactly.
You know, and yeah, real talk, guys. That
Yeah.
is, you know, the love is just gone with a lot of people. They're so
Yeah.
severely damaged that they don't even realize it. Go ahead, what were you
Exactly.
saying?
No, I was saying that, to just bring it all together because I know we got to get up out of here, and we
Mm,
appreciate everybody that wrote out with us.
yes.
It was a very much needed segment, and we just want to make sure that we put together a very impactful segment for you guys to go back at any time, and also give it to somebody that you know could use the information and share it. Also tell them to like, share, and subscribe to our page as well. I just want to bring it to perspective before we close out, is that it's important for us to have the chemistry. It's important for us to have that sense of element within the confines of the man and woman. Just like Major was talking about, we have too many times we're finger pointing and we're causing a gender war, and it's leading us astray going this way versus coming together and
Mhm.
joining in at the hip. Um, and why is it so important? Why are we stressing that? The reason that we are stressing it is because what we have coming towards us now is something that we have never seen before. We're about to have one of the most serious economic collapses this year. We're seeing eggs at almost the price of getting your tire patched up, right? So shoot,
Mm,
it's almost at $10. And these are basic things that you normally make breakfast with if you have children. And
mm,
they're going to school, they're in school. So these are a part of the elements of breakfast. I went to the grocery store the other day. A package of meat that used to be $5. Eat a little lunch meat that you make sandwiches, and now $8. Your
mm.
eggs are eight between $8 to $10. Your milk is rising up to about $5, $6. So just a basic uh, week of breakfast can run you up to easy $100, because even hot dogs that you might want to have the children to make for themselves, the hot dogs are up to about $6 a pack of eight. So we're seeing the inflation hitting heavy, and this impacts people and households. Um,
Right.
so now we have to be more savvy, and we have to be more conscious, and we have to start building that household structure, because what's coming now is going to affect you majorly if you're on single cord versus you being in a union in a strong structured house. We
Right.
need to build this back ASAP. Start doing it now. If it's somebody you're aligned with, try to build that foundation for yourself, um, for you guys together. Build that union, because it's going to be needed for what's coming. I've always told people before, I try to get them ahead of the curve and not behind the curve, because as Black folks, a lot of times we don't get the information. And this is why it's so important for you guys to follow us and subscribe, and get other people to subscribe, because the information that we're going to be bringing you, a lot of times you're not going to hear this on mainstream media, and it's going to be very impactful, especially to our community, the Black community, because anytime a disaster hits, we are the ones that hurt the most, because we have the least amount of resources, and we don't do enough group economics to circulate the money in our community strong enough to help the people in our community. So it's very imperative that we get on the wavelength to have the chemistry, get the chemistry to build the union, to build the foundation, to build the concrete, so we can defend ourselves from a matrix, a system, a global system that is out to decimate us and even decimate our children's in the process. And I want to show you guys this video real quick, so you know exactly where I'm coming from. All right.
There's a study in The Guardian that said the median African American household net worth is going to be zero by 2053, like in 34 years. You guys see that study?
No.
Well, yeah, you should look it up. And so, why are they forecasting that African American net worth is going to go to zero? It's because of this economic tidal wave that is coming. This economic tidal wave is going to wipe out many working class jobs, and it's going to be the equivalent of a natural disaster. And we know what happens in a natural disaster. Who suffers? Poor people don't have the resources. People of color.
All right. So he says, who suffers the most? Poor people, people who don't have the resources. Um, in our community, we know Black people suffer the most. So it's very important for us to build this foundation. So when the more and more we do the gender wars and we're blaming each other and we're pointing fingers at each other, at the end of the day, we're just being further apart from each other. So when these things come and hit us full force, we're decimated because we don't have a solidified foundation to be in place to withhold the storm.
Mm.
So I definitely want people to understand the importance of what we're doing here and the importance of what we're trying to get you on. On that note, I'm going to leave you guys with the last note. We love everybody, appreciate the support, the fans, and everybody. Um, I know next week, aren't you on your honeymoon, Mason?
Yeah, yeah. We'll be out.
Okay.
Yeah, man. So yeah. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend next week.
No,
But
no, unfortunately. Nah,
yeah,
the Birdman hand rub is in full
it's gonna be a
effect.
wonderful time. It's gonna be a wonderful time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely,
So
definitely.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
So
we'll see.
unfortunately,
Yeah,
guys.
like I say, we're more likely to take we're gonna take a time off together. We'll all
Mm,
just crash out next week. So next week we won't have a show for you guys, but we'll be back in 2 weeks. Also, in 2 weeks we will have the format of the program where we added more of the crown. I know people were calling in and hitting me up about the crown check segment.
no,
And we'll also have more email segment of Dear Men. So you guys can always send us emails to manversation2020@gmail.com, and definitely check out the programs titles that we do have coming for you guys, segment titles that's coming this way. So on that note, like I said, I'll give it to you guys to close out.
all right. Oh, I'm sorry. Go, Bob. You want to go first?
Yeah, so in closing, just to further encapsulate what's been discussed, the chemistry is essential. Uh, we are one people. We need to make sure that we're in alignment with each other in order to get the best optimal outcomes out of situations. Unfortunately, in too many circumstances, it seems as though for a lot of us, I wouldn't say all of us, but for a lot of us, it seems as though we need additional pressure. We need to have the flame under our feet, a fire under our ass, the gun to our head, so to speak, in order to do the right thing, in order to do the things that we know we need to do, which makes no sense because if these are essential things, it shouldn't take an act of God or some sort of crisis to get you to do what you should have done from the beginning.
Right.
Um, right now, because things have been made easier and convenient for us in a lot of respects, it's easy for us to disrespect one another and have gender wars and to argue about things like tones and accountability and such. But when you're in a crisis and it's a life or death situation where failure to act and inaction can literally cost you everything, including your life, um, you typically don't get people complaining about tones or people being harsh with you. Um, all the gender warring and the backbiting that gets tabled really quickly because every single person who can assist greater increases your chance of survival and coming out on top. So we have, due to the work of those who came before us, we've been able to get to a place where we now have the luxury, and I obviously use that term very loosely, very slackly, but the luxury of being dysfunctional. The
Mm,
issue with that is, as the saying goes, strong men make easy times make weak men make hard times, and then the cycle continues. So if we are in a place where we have the luxury of being dysfunctional and we are acting on that luxury, times are going to start getting a whole lot rougher, and they are getting rougher. They're getting harder for a lot of us.
mm,
Um, for those who just can't get right, that means that a lot of you all are going to suffer. In some cases, you're probably not even going to make it in different respects for one way or another. The good news is that nothing is ever too good or too bad for too long. So we're gonna have some dark days ahead of us, but the good news is those of us that are on the right track and those of us who are able to course correct and get where we're supposed to be, if we can weather the storm, we're gonna get back to some good times again. So the key is to be patient, uh, to operate in your lane, do the best you can with what you have. Link up with like-minded individuals. This is a great space. We're trying to set that tone, set that guide for us. Get on track, get in sync, get in tune, so we can make it to the better days, man. Because our best days aren't behind us; they're ahead of us. Um, let's get to where we need to be. Go ahead, Major.
Real talk, man. Real talk. I'm
Real
just
talk.
gonna put it out there, man. It's glaringly obvious to those of us that are supposedly in the know, that are quote unquote in the know, the conscious ones of us or the woke ones of us. But I gotta say, man, we have a lot of off code people out here. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And that is hindering very significant progress that we could be making. You know, people there was a sister that said in one of the posts a few weeks back that I have an obsession with behavior, so to speak, or whatever the case may be. And I will accept that and wear that as a badge of honor. You damn right I have an obsession with behavior because our behavior is causing us to be unproductive. You understand? You have these people out here that have these low energy, low vibration type of personality. Their whole entire being is low vibration. You understand what I'm saying? And people are like, well, they black and you supposed to support the black folks and all that. What are you going to build with people like that? You understand what I'm saying? Again, back to chemistry and the importance of it. You need to be around like-minded people and join with them and build with them, and that becomes contagious. Other people will start to look at you and emulate what you're doing. This is how we create the very much needed paradigm shift that we always talk about. If you're around these people who just watch World Star and listen to this junkie rap all day, you understand what I'm saying? And making it rain on these hoes all day at the club, all that type of foolishness. If that's all you do, you understand, and you hang around a bunch of people where that's all they do, you're never going to do anything of consequence. That's the long and short of it. I think back to the people who are my heroes, your Dr. Kings, your Malcolm X's, your Sojourner Truths, your Harriet Tubmans, whatever the case may be, Mega Evers, I could go on forever. These were serious people at their core. You
Mhm.
understand? There are people out here literally that have nothing, nothing, nothing on their minds but this foolishness that you see on reality TV shows. That their personalities are a composite of reality TV show characters, rap song lyrics, and I don't mean hip hop song lyrics, rap song lyrics, like this new shit that they call rap, right? And just goofy ass people you see on the internet, and white supremacist society will elevate these people to make the masses want to be like them because they're popular and they got money and this, that, and the third. And we get into celebrity worship, which is a whole nother show. You understand what I'm saying? But the point of the matter is you're not going to have the proper chemistry with the people in your society that are the movers and the shakers and the builders, and you're never going to accomplish anything. So when the storm comes, like what Andrew Yang was just talking about in that interview, when the storm comes, you're not going to be prepared. And that's why we do this every day, people. We need you to be prepared. We need you. Yeah, I know. I like to party too. I like to have fun too. But when that's all you do, and you're just an overgrown ass teenager, you understand? And you got folks like us trying to tell you what time it is and tell you you need to do some things differently. You need to elevate your mindset so that silly, petty things don't disturb you so much, so that you're not triggered by everything, so that you are in harmony with what's around you, as opposed to being at odds with everything. You understand what I'm saying? And then you're in a better mental space. You can be a lot more productive. That's what we're trying to get across to the people. We're trying to get you to have chemistry with the things that are of consequence, with the things that are significant, and the people that are significant, so that you can build and grow. We can't afford all of this silly shit that y'all on out here. We just can't afford it. And too many people are off code and cooning and not, doing what they're supposed to do. Like Bobby Drake just said, it just takes so much for so many people to do right, when all you got to do, goddamn it, is just do right. I'm just saying. So that I'll land my plane with that. Hopefully this reaches some folks, and we get some more people. I spoke to a brother the other day at the Jamaican spot when I was going to get my food from Golden Crust. He's like, yo, I really I'm listening to what you're saying. I really want to rock with it. I gave him I'll give you his page so you can follow him back later. But like he was like, yeah, he never had the fatherhood, influence in his life, and he's looking for this type of stuff. I talk to so many brothers who say that. So we got to just keep putting it out there, man.
Exactly.
And we're going to get where we're going.
Definitely, man. We appreciate everybody for tuning in. And like I said, we definitely switched up the schedule this week because of the Super Bowl. I mean, not Super Bowl, but the playoff game that was going to be watched by a lot of people. So we didn't want to bump heads and take people away from watching, entertainment. We want you guys to get this great information. So we did it at a later time. So you guys definitely thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting us and continuing to ride with us. We just started the year and we're about to heat up, man. So we got a lot coming for you guys later. Remember, we're off next week and we're going to be back on the following week. And then we have Major, who's going to tell us, some more good stuff that happened his whole week, that he was out, just enjoying himself with his newly wife.
Not too many details.
We're inspired by it, and we just excited about it. So definitely, we appreciate everybody. Thanks again, and we'll see y'all next week. All right, peace.
God bless. Peace.
For sure.
On the album, we do things like songs that are a little, what we call sexy. You can see from the title, it's more of a love album.